All right, hello there, Twitch chat. How the devil are we? We are in tune for some fantastic August Nova Cup games, and here, with a worldwide first reveal, joining me on the co-cast is none other than Seto Kaiba. Seto, hello.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm very, very well, and I'm honoured to have you with me here today. This has been something that we've been talking about for a while, trying to get you on the cast, and I'm very, very pleased that you can join us here today. That's fantastic. And Seto, look, we've got some really cool games ahead of us today. The first game we're going to watch is going to be Fake One and Pakistan RQS. They are going to be facing up against if I was like a good caster, I would probably know this. No Greed Balls Feed, that is the Caesar and Leonara duo. So, bit of a spicy one there. Obviously, Caesar Leonara very well known for their kind of really heavy starvy plays throughout the game. I was going to say like in the early game, but they do it the whole game, let's be real. So I'm definitely expecting to see some Mimics or Ogres even on Wave 7 and that sort of massive sends in the early game, keeping people on their toes. And Pakistan RQS and the Fake One, they're a bit more mid-rangey, I would say. So they can cringe like the best of them when they need to, but they're also probably a bit more comfortable with some kind of eco play, a few income sends, a few king upgrades if they're feeling spicy. Who knows? But yeah, I think it might be quite an interesting match. What are your thoughts on this one?
So we have a little bit of a case of the veterans versus the newbies. Fake One being relatively new to the scene, Pakistani being relatively new to the scene. So they've kind of grown up in this new meta that's like not as much desired by some of the people who've been around for a while. It's a little bit of that pre-10 no brains, go for it, just send. But hopefully with the experience that they've grown up in here, they'll be able to perform very well today.
Oh, absolutely. And this is relative, right? Like we say that Fake One and Pakistan RQS are new to the scene, which is true, but they've still been around for like 6 months, 9 months, a year, something like that. So they know their way around the board. It's not their first rodeo, but absolutely, Caesar and Leonardo, they have a lot more tournament experience. These guys have been playing together since day one, and they are really familiar with how the tournament meta works and stuff like that. And I think they're pretty good actually. The way that they put all of that pressure on the early game waves and try to dictate the pace of the game themselves. So we'll have to see, like, how are Fake One and Pakistan going to deal with that? Will they be able to cope with that early game pressure? Will they be able to pilot their way through to the mid and late game where maybe their more eco-centered play will favour them? We'll have to see. It's going to be an interesting one for sure.
Absolutely. I hope that with that new kind of shift we've been having, I feel like we've been saving a lot more in the late game, an
Mhm.
extra 1 to 2 waves versus every other. I'm excited to see if they're able to get the right reads on those big saves.
Yeah, definitely. And the problem is, like, even if you have the right read, sometimes the way that these guys play, there's just nothing you can do about it. Like, if you might know that you're getting a 200 send on wave 7, but even if you know it, it's quite often that you can't deal with that because that is just too much mythium at that stage of the game. So it is a very feast and famine style that these guys go for. They're very all in on these early game plays. If they don't work, they can backfire, and that's the thing. So if clearly if they work, they send an ogre on 7, they get 100% leak, they take off 50% king HP, happy days. But let's say Fake One makes a mastermind read, he shifts 100 gold on 6, he drops a millennium on 7, then these things can be pretty spicy. But I mean, we'll have to see. Like we're kind of getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, I think, at this stage. Maybe the send comes on wave 8, who knows?
I think the most fun you can have when it comes to casting these games is just make wild predictions right off the bat.
Yeah.
And honestly, with that in mind, I think I did see a Kraken on 10 earlier this week.
Oh wow. Okay. I mean, a Kraken on 10. That's just like two bosses, right? It's like
It was very impressive
that's
and
pretty
very
wild. But
unfortunate at the best, too.
so they leaked, right? Right?
They barely, only just a
Barely.
little. King's job, actually.
Okay. Fair play. Fair play. Well, hey, Seto, let's see if we've got a lobby available. And it
Looks like
looks
we do.
like. Do we? Do we? Yeah, we do. Okay. Excellent. So we have all the players. We have both of the casters as well. And yeah, we should be
Because
able to get this August Nova Cup on the road ASAP. So this is going to be an exciting one, and I'm really, just again to reiterate, I'm really glad to have you with me casting today because again we've talked about this for a while, and you have been doing your own casting streams as well. They are often a little bit too late for me on your NA schedule, which is very inconsiderate, honestly, if I have to say. But I've really been enjoying watching you cast on your own stream, and I thought it would be fantastic to get you on here as well.
no, thank you for throwing me the bone. I remember it was about a year ago. You had said hit GM and we'll make this happen. And what am I that close?
You're within a whisker. You got 25.98, so we just about missed the contract, but I thought it was good enough. But
Thank
hey,
you so much.
Beto, enough padding. The games are underway. Game number 1 of this August Nova Cup is here. It's a trade-off on the left. That's Fake One and Pakistan RQS versus No Greed Balls Feed on the right. Game number 1. Let's go.
Right off the bat, we are seeing the mastermind being picked here for no style and getting that nice safe greed. And I think I like that a lot. We do have some Legion spells here. We got the villain and press the attack as well as the venture. So
Oh, and this is interesting, Seto. A Fiesta Cartel pairing here in game number 1. That's pretty cool.
very much looking for that early pressure or at least setting up that late game that maybe they're concerned about getting that income nice and early, looking nice and juicy, very fresh.
And he's got an absolutely amazing Fiesta roll as well. He's almost spoilt for choice here, look, because he has Windhawk, obviously a classic, but so is the Atom, so is the Bazooka. He has 3 very, very, like, A-tier Fiesta openers. What does he go for here?
If it were me, I would go for the Windhawk because I think that you never pass up the opportunity to build 4 of them. And honestly, it's a very safe roll anyway.
That took me a second there, mate, but that was quality meaning.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, even if you get the snail on one, like, so you leak regardless, snail or no snail, but snail on one, you still get a very nice juicy boy. Or
Yeah.
we could go super safe.
What is he doing? He had like 4 perfect Fiesta openers and he goes for the Green Devil? Does he know which mastermind he picked?
I'm not certain. We do unfortunately see for Fake One here, the Casket Seedling going to be impossible to
Yeah.
leak straight through,
Yeah.
God, forever.
He went for the Sneaky Snail into no style as well, and it just was giga unrewarded there. Like the Casket Seedling, already one of the highest worker starts in the game, and now he just has +4 gold for free as well.
That is a very difficult thing to kind of contend with, the changes that were made to the income sends versus the power marks as the values. You don't get that 6-4 snail anymore,
Hmm.
reduced income. So we will be seeing a leak out of him on 2, which is nice.
Yeah, quite a big one actually. I think this is like a 50% leak right against a snail because he didn't add a tier 1.
It is, yeah, I think it is exactly, yeah, 50%, I believe.
So
Yes,
yeah,
it
sure
does
he gets
leak
his Fiesta, but a
now.
little bit more than maybe he would have hoped.
Pakistani here doing a little bit of a leak himself.
Oh, there's the 50. Oh, and Pakistan with the Waldo there as well. You're supposed to be covering for your Fiesta teammate.
Not going to be the case this time here, so they're going to take a little bit of king damage, and you see that Jules meter shifting a little bit as Jules really heavily favors king damage early,
Yeah.
despite the lack
Oh
of
wow, yeah, he's
dollars that you
dropped
get.
all the way up to 68% now for No Greed Balls Feed. I mean, that does seem a little bit overly optimistic maybe for Jules there, but yeah, he clearly values the king HP.
We do see the Robo Send coming out here. That's not
Okay.
really valuable.
Yeah, I don't really understand that because the only thing that matters is killing this casket, right? And the Robo, I mean, doesn't really help with that. It's magic damage on a magic damage wave. And he sent a king up as well. I wonder if that was just a misclick, maybe.
Perhaps it was, and kind of deeply unfortunate if it is here. However, you should be getting a nice juicy leak here, the Fake One on this current wave.
So no style, obviously very easily holding against the Robo regen there. But Fake One, let's see. It does look good. Is the Green Devil just too overpowered here?
It
Oh,
is very
it's
powerful, but we're
close.
definitely
It's
getting a tiny
close.
baby leak.
Oh, it's perfect! the 2 creep leak there, 11%, juicy Fiesta, and this time Pakistan does decide to hold, and maybe even kill one of the creeps. Nope, none of the creeps in mid, but this is fine. Very, very little king damage here, wave 3.
Absolutely. No balls here looking very solid for this opener here. They're not in danger for kind of a while either. So two solid openings for no style and no balls.
Yeah, now wave 5 is kind of traditionally very weak for the Casket Seedling opener, but Fake One has gone for an income send here on 4, so he's not showing that much pressure against 5. But even so, I think No Style looks very, very weak there, so probably a resend coming out from Fake One. Now let's have a look.
We're seeing just a baby resend here, just the income lizard.
Yeah, that is just 12 gold and nothing else, but let's keep eyes here on Pakistan. He did get a full send here, 60 Mithium, and the Chieftain is dying a little bit too quickly. It does look like we might see a small leak here. And actually, yeah, meanwhile, No Style does leak very, very small over in the yellow lane as well, but so does Pakistan. So two kind of pro leaks really, nothing much to speak of. We'll have to see, does Fake One go for a big resend here, because I think No Style is looking very vulnerable on 5. He does, but only income.
Play, yeah. I think I would have loved to have seen the Fiend. I'd like we would have maybe been able to chop through a little bit of the casket damage, maybe been able to chop through what at the time was just a regular Sea Serpent, but deciding to delay the Serpent off the wave for an extra 3 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, Fake One maybe just is ahead of the game, because we see here that No Style has built the Deep Coiler, which is actually very, very strong on wave 5. So Fake One perhaps expecting that and just going for an income send rather than trying to leak here. That said, though, the Casket Seeds are still extremely weak on this wave 5, so maybe like a Brute or two could have done some work.
Could have done some work, but the Scorpion King is looking really healthy still, so that might be a whoopsie.
It will be a bit of a whoopsie there. A Scorpion King incident on wave 5 here. No Style, the 42% leak.
So, I mean, I guess we can definitely be very happy with that result if we're Fake One. No Style here leaking the Scorpion King. What is that in gold value? That's 30-something now gone.
I think, right, yeah. And obviously the leak gold, so Fake One gets a little bit of Burt off the back of it as well. And he does go for a full resend here, wave 6. Will he get to the second robo? I think he will.
Definitely going to hit that second robo. Never get anything else. He does have a coiler now, so Fake One looking very solid for the next pretty much near infinite amount of time here.
Meanwhile, though, Fake One receiving a very big send here on wave 6, the double Brute and the Snail as well for good measure. His front line is dying very, very quickly. The coiler is doing some work on the back line, is going to kill at least one of the Brutes. But now it should be overwhelmed. This is deceptively strong on wave 6, right? The swift armor of the coiler just makes it live forever.
Absolutely. No, the individual snakes can each take a Rocco each, no problem. It doesn't matter. And honestly, the coiler is probably the best early game unit, in my opinion, as the pierce damage is good on most waves. The swift is good on the other waves. So very nice single target damage from it.
And it has really good thresholds early as well, right? Like the Deep Coiler is 2-shotting wave 5, 2-shotting 7, 8, all of that stuff. It's a really nice early game unit. But yeah, look, we got a small leak out of Fake One, and we also got a small leak out of No Style there with the double robo. Things are pretty even, and actually Jules is back on track now, saying it's basically a 50-50 again.
Basically a 50-50 again, and despite the Fake One being Fiesta, he's contending with a cartel teammate, so he doesn't get to have the most workers because of that.
Yeah. Talking of the worker counts, actually, we've got some very good numbers here from Fake One and Pakistan, 13 and 14 already on wave 7. No Style is trying his best to keep up, but No Balls is really starting to fall behind there.
Absolutely. Being at 10 workers on wave 7 is, like, you know, it's okay, but it doesn't feel very good. And in these Nova Cups, oftentimes you see lower worker counts, but still just being able to push now to the Lizard income with King up feels a little bit rough, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah. He's just falling further and further behind with every wave, right? He has been able to push, but his push is to 12 workers, and meanwhile, Pakistan, he is flying now with 16 workers, wave 8. He's having a bit of a game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 16 workers, very impressive. They both, on the west side here, Fake One and Pakistan, have very, very, very strong early game roles.
Yep.
Whereas No Balls, I'm not exactly sure where his role belongs. Like, there are early elements, but the late game element is a little bit lacking right now. And they've already used the read role.
Yeah, this is a problem, I think, with lock-in, because obviously the the computer picks your units for you with lock-in, other than the one that you lock in, and you can occasionally just get these garbage rolls, and it seems to be that that's what's happened here to No Balls. So he's used his re-roll very early and clearly didn't get anything particularly useful out of it, and now he's stuck playing this very like mid-tier role, I would say.
Mid-tier role, but he's still going to try. He's got a couple fruits out, hoping to catch the Fake One sleeping, perhaps.
Yeah.
But Fake One's going to have a little bit of a boom going.
Oh, talking
And
about
maybe Uno
brutes, yeah,
Fruit.
we've got 3 brutes coming out from Fake One into No Style. We have the triple brutes from No Style into Pakistan, and I think No Balls is going to reach his third brute as well for Fake One. So brutes galore here on wave 9. Let's see if any of the players are able to deal with this.
Harpy or Sky Queen, not traditionally the strongest on 9 or other ranged units. And for Pakistan, he
Hmm.
has the Chieftain, which is good tank value, but not the best damage. It's good damage, but not the best damage.
Yeah, I mean, his split tanking is just perfect, though. Look at this. His Chieftain
Absolutely beautiful.
perfectly splitting with his melee unit. His split living for a very long time with the Chieftain buff. It does now go down. It will be a pretty big leap, but he got a 240 center. That's to be expected. 83% there for Pakistan. Meanwhile, Fake One, his Deep Coiler, the Swift Pierce unit, just clearing up the wave there. He is able to hold. He got a 200 cent himself, by the way. Meanwhile, 260, that's a hold for No Balls, and a very, very small leak against the 240 cent here on No Style. So some really, really impressive holds, it looks like, from all 3 players, Pakistan being the one exception, but as you said, Seto, his role very, very weak here on wave 9.
The I'm not sure if you saw the Fire Lord was absolutely the MVP there for Fake One, living straight up until the end of the wave, able to push through pretty much everything, was tanking 2 brutes, a couple of the carapaces, really a hero there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Firelord can be very, very juicy, like on the early game waves. If you can get it to split tank just so, and the thing just never dies, and basically obliterates half of the damage from the wave, right? Because what is this ability? Absorbs 60% of incoming damage. So if you have it tanking like a low number of units, that's just 60% of damage completely mitigated from the wave.
Yeah, that's it's hard to balance for newer players, finding that sweet spot.
Hmm.
But clearly here, Fake One able to absolutely master that. Doesn't have anything necessarily to buff it right now, or pretty much ever. But on its own, it's a very, very strong unit. And with the changes to the waves, the way that they deal damage in the late game, it is kind of becoming a god unit.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I do have to point out something here, though. The way that Fake One evened his split here for 10 actually made him leak. I think if he doesn't do that, and his Firelord tanks the boss, he's just holding here. But
Absolutely.
his Firelord didn't tank until the last unit, his Coiler died too early, and yeah, you saw him leak there to no send.
But I mean, let's be honest. Is it so bad? He's Fiesta.
Oh, true. I completely forgot. Yeah, he's Fiesta. What a god gamer. And he also shifted some gold there, so now he has the Phoenix here on wave 11. He is receiving a full send. The Phoenix may just pop off, by the way. We'll have to see.
Phoenix here, even split, still feels pretty okay. It probably will go down, especially to the Robos, just dealing that extra little bit of damage that doesn't necessarily matter except to drain the mana. But Probably going to get a little baby leak here out of Fake One.
Yeah, there's some massive sends coming out all around actually, with the press the attack on the board as well. We've got 400 Mythium being sent to every player. No Stars receiving income, so we don't need to watch this one too closely, but 420 here for No Balls, and similar amounts over here for both Fake One and Pakistan. Is anybody able to hold these massive sends? Fake One certainly is not. That's 126% leak even with the Phoenix, but Pakistan RQS here in the blue lane. Is he having an absolute god situation here? Oh no, the Four Eyes is still there. It was hiding behind the other creeps. He does leak. That's a 63%. Big leak as well for No Balls, but of course, No Style receiving income only. He will be able to cover a decent amount of that in the mid. Meanwhile, Fake One and Pakistan, they are losing a lot of King HP here.
Losing a lot of the King HP. I really liked Pakistan's choice of buff there on to the Chieftain. It's good tank value, it's good damage, just not enough to be able to hold for himself or his mate there.
Yeah.
But they did have a decent amount of King up, so they didn't take that much damage in the sense that it's game ending, but it is certain to swing a little bit according to Jules.
Yeah, they do have full regen, so they will get that King HP back, but yeah, clearly not ideal. And Fake One, I honestly thought he would do much better than that with the Phoenix that he shifted for on 10. I thought he would maybe just pop off on 11, but he just got overrun there with 126% leak.
Yeah, and I think most interestingly to me is I'm looking at the worker counts, and I'm seeing kind of a swing there.
Yeah, right. So the side of No Greed Balls Feed, they've both pushed pretty heavily, whereas Pakistan and Fake One have not really pushed much at all. They're rather shifting a lot of gold, maybe trying to bait a send here on 13, but Fake One is a god there, so I don't think No Style, No Balls are going to fall for this. I think maybe the earliest that they would send now is wave 14.
It's definitely got to be a long save for Fake One in Pakistan now because they are in kind of an awkward position, shifting so much gold and not pushing anything to workers.
Yeah.
So if these baits don't work out, and we should shift more on this wave most likely.
Yeah, I was thinking, do they have to go for a double shift? That feels so risky though, right? Because if you're shifting on one wave, maybe your opponent gets baited to send the next, and then you get caught with your trousers down when you're shifting 300 gold again. But actually, it looks like they're just full building here. So Fake One, 2.5k value. Pakistan will be on 2.5 as well when he finishes building. And yeah, so the bait didn't work at all. No Style, No Balls, clearly not sending here on 13. And we'll have to see whether they go for 14 or longer.
My concern is growing for the west side as
Yeah.
I mean, why would you ever send into a Phoenix on 13 after sending 11 anyway? I don't think I understand the thought process there, but
Oh, now this is what concerns me the most. So they went for the no push and then send anyway strat here on 14.
yeah, I definitely, if they were going to send 14 pretty much in any world, I would have liked to have seen them push those workers. As
Yeah.
now they're just not going to be nearly as impactful, and No Style and No Balls are sitting at, honestly, gray value. They're doing fine. They're feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, No Style is pretty much bang on value when he finishes building, and with some decent units as well, right? Like he has triple Iron Maiden here. Now, surely the gate is not fantastic. This stuff is pretty bad, but he's got very high value. The caskets are very good value as well. We'll have to see. He might just pull off a hold. No Balls, triple Slime Mummy as well. He could just do very well. Well, the send's a massive Seto, so we've got 620, 660, 520, 540. Is anybody able to hold against this send, or will we see game ending here on 14?
It is possible we see a game ender here. We did have to alter our send into No Style with the Coilers. Unfortunately, No Balls getting sent to Centaur means those Slime Mummies don't really do anything at all.
Now, Fake One got some absolutely perfect Phoenix aggro there, and Pakistan is doing phenomenally well. Oh, he just leaks that Ogre on very, very low HP, but here it is, the No Style hold on the wave 14. Very, very clutch there. He's even able to clear a decent amount in the mid. Meanwhile, Fake One and Pakistan, they're losing even more King HP. They're dropping very, very low here.
Dropping very low. You see No Style's now able to push past the 40 worker mark. He doesn't care anymore. He understands that the next league is going to be the game winner anyway, so he wants to make sure that he's in control of that.
Yeah. Now, it's a trade-off. They're down to 20% HP. So, I mean, look, we've been talking about none of these leaks have been game-ending, and that's true. But they're definitely in a position now where one more mistake and they are done in this game. So they have to play very, very carefully. They maybe can't afford to take some of the risks that you would like to take at this stage in the game, because even a very small leak and they are just dead.
Absolutely. The small leak. Unfortunately, Fake One, they're not getting probably Oathbreakers out to help them deal some of that extra tank and damage that they needed.
Hmm.
Could have made a little bit of a difference, turn that amazing hold into an even more amazing hold. Uh, to kind of just changing here, we do see No Balls here sitting on minus 580 value, pushing past that 51 worker mark, and they are sending 116.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to be GG one way or the other here. Let's see if Fake One in Pakistan can read that.
Well, they both shifted quite a lot of gold here on the side of it's a trade-off, so maybe they are trying to bait this wave 16 send. But yeah, I mean, there's baiting and then there's living up to the challenge, right? And we do see that No Style No Balls both pushed very, very heavily. In fact, No Balls might even be leaking to no send here, in which case, yeah, okay. So we do see Fake One and Pakistan make the read. They are going to send here on 16. They're not going to risk it. Um, I mean, it's going to be close because clearly it's a trade-off. Haven't pushed any workers. No Style No Balls are both pushed very heavily. But that does mean that it's a trade-off should have a lot more value. So what's going to win out here, Seto? Will it be value or will it be Mythium?
I think it's going to be Mythium. I just don't see Pakistan holding with anything useful here. Like the Chieftains are okay; they're decent tank. Your Green Devil is going to get chewed up by the wave, as well as the four. This like we have a lot of Four Eyes going into this wave, and we
Oh,
see
wow.
triple pack, of course, very good on No Balls and No
Yes.
Style.
Maybe another little misclick there from No Balls. Or it's just a backup pack, right? For when the first one dies.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we know that all of those trees of knowledge are going to do that explosive damage. So,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, if you don't have a backup,
Backup, backup.
me.
Okay, let's keep eyes on the left because this is the team that needs to be able to hold if they want to stay in the game. The Phoenix is tanking very, very nicely there. Unfortunately, it did pull one of the Four Eyes, so it won't be the Dream Phoenix, but it did its job, I think. Those Tree of
Absolutely.
Knowledges, they're doing their job as well. I mean, that's a big leak for Fake One, but it's all very low. However, Pakistan, I think he is leaking as well, and that will be all she wrote, I'm afraid. It looks like No Greed Balls Feed are victorious here in game number one. And don't get me wrong, this is lethal damage as well on the right. But I think with 36% King HP, it will be Fake One and Pakistan who die first.
Yeah, typical gate diff, honestly. The Hellgate there holding for longest as kind of usual, getting that extra couple 10 seconds that they need to live. 10
Yeah,
seconds is basically an eternity there. So,
yeah. And that can be very tilting, right, if you lose to something like that. But I mean, let's just take a look at this win probability graph, Seto, because no Greed Balls Feed, they were very favoured throughout the early game. There was a little bit of a revival there for it's a trade off from wave 8 to 11, but then we saw those leaks coming out on 11, and from there on out, it was no Greed Balls Feed, their game to lose. And they didn't. So they managed to pilot this one to victory with some very nice uh, surgical sends, I think it's fair to say. So this wave 16 heavy push into lethal was quality gameplay from those guys, and I did like their wave 14 play as well. Fake One and Pakistan both on very high value there, but not able to hold against these mega 600 plus Mythium sends. So really nice gameplay there from No Greed Balls Feed, and it does earn them a 1-0 advantage. So Seto, what do you think? Like, what do Fake One and Pakistan need to do differently in game number two if they want to come back into this series?
I feel like their tempo was always just a little bit off. They never really felt like they were in control of the game. A little bit of that kind of income king that we were mentioning earlier, just kind of the environment that, you know, they were raised. We don't blame them for that, but we do hope that they change their ways before it's too late. I really want pretty badly for them to be able to just read the map better. That save post 10 or not save necessarily, but shift instead of pushing workers felt, kind of bad. I feel like it's always a good time to push workers.
Yeah. Especially because the bait didn't pay off, right? So if they had somehow managed to trick No Greed Ball's feed into sending Wave 13, that could very well be a winning line for them, right? But clearly they didn't fall for the trap, and the bait just ended up costing them on 14 because they had that much less Mythium, right? So, yeah, but that is the nature of the game. When we go to these like high level games, there has to be a lot of bait and switch and mind reading and gambling, and generally the side that wins those kind of mind games will come out on top. So they tried it. They knew they were behind. They knew they had to try something risky. Didn't pay off this time, but that doesn't mean it's a bad play. It's sometimes if you're behind, you have to go for those low percentage plays to try and come back.
Absolutely. I love it when people make a decision instead of just sitting on their laurels or just playing standard. And while, it may have been the incorrect call there, at least they made a call.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, they tried to make something happen, and fair play to them. But hey, we have got another lobby available. We should be able to get into game number 2 pretty quickly. And yeah, it looks like the players are ready, so we should get game number 2 underway. And this is pretty important now because Fake One and Pakistan, they need to win here to stay in the series. But if no Great Balls feed, just take this one. They're straight through to the winners match. So let's see how we go as we go into game number 2. Everything to play for. Oh, and here
I
it
mean,
is. So the players are not messing about. We are straight into game number 2 here. Let's see what are the players going to do to bring this one back.
everyone taking just a moment here. We do have a cartel out of no style right away here, looking again to control the early game just right off the bat this time around. And we also see a castle out of Pakistan. So that's going to be a lot of pressure on Pakistan early. And no style, no balls playing the fake one in Pakistan's kind of
Okay.
role here
That's
and
pretty
showing them how it's
spicy.
done.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it didn't work out for Fake One in Pakistan last time around. We'll have to see if No Style No Balls are better with it now. I think they probably should be because I don't know if you know this, Seto, but the Cartel Fiesta is basically what No Style No Balls played on the ladder exclusively for like 6 months in a row. So these guys have definitely practiced with this Mastermind combo. They know how to use its like power spikes and such. I think this might be a pretty interesting match.
I actually didn't know that, and now knowing that, I feel like the fake one in Pakistan might have been trying to BM and then ended up having it blow up in their face a little bit.
Let me just check. What were their mastermind choices last game? They were Megamind and Lock-in. Okay. That's just for scoreboard purposes. All right.
So Pakistan here sending into the Fiesta, getting those long waves on castle feels kind of bad.
Yeah, it can be, but I think it can also be pretty good for a castle player, right? Because what you're missing in the early game is gold. And what happens when you're sending to a Fiesta player? You get a lot of Burt. So it can, to a degree, alleviate the castle weaknesses. But it's a trade-off, let's say.
No balls there, getting the absolute perfect
Yeah,
Fiesta,
that was very juicy
predictably.
there. Very. What was his build? I need to make a note of this one. Yeah,
Oh, that was
very nice
Lucas and the
Fiesta there.
Skelly. It's funny, the tier one that you choose for this opening matters very much on placement, where an Oathbreaker too high will hold versus any of the other tier ones. It's very particular. It matters a lot.
Hmm. All right, here we do see the snail send coming out. So how will No Balls do against this? His value's very low there, 120. It's all swift impact, however, so perfectly typed for the wave. And this is a really nice split tank here. Although one bazooka does go down a little bit too early, this is still looking pretty good for him when he was 6 workers. 58% sure, but again, long waves while you have the worker advantage generally work in your favour.
Absolutely no style there. Still on 5, a little bit unfortunately, but this is a very strong wave for them. just prepping maybe the 4 with the Oathbreaker there.
Mhm.
Or oh no, the doggo's even better on 4.
Oh, by the way, Seto, I've got one eye on the Twitch chat, and you'll be pleased to hear there's a number of fans of your cat in the stream.
I have a lot of cats, so my cats can have fans too.
Okay, so we see more income sends coming out. Biggest income send here going to Pakistan, but he has got the Seraphim, which is an absolute monster of a unit on wave 3, and the Trinity Archer is no slouch either, so I think he should be just fine. Oh, but this was a post-income Brute here against the fake one.
Yeah, I think very notably, even though the fake one had a polywog of their own to distract the Brute for only a second,
Yeah.
it was just that a second.
I mean, the post-income Brute can definitely be the deadliest because you just don't play around that, right? These players at this level, they generally all have a good idea of how much Mythium to expect. And sure, you might be expecting a 60, but there's a big difference between like a DT Snail and the Brute, right? So when No Balls goes for a play like that, he skips income, he sends the Brute. You can get a leak out of Fake One, but honestly, I don't know that it's that bad, right? Like he missed the income on it. Fake One did leak, but it wasn't terrible, and you know, it's a trade-off.
It is a trade-off. Fake one's still 7 workers here on 4, feeling absolutely fine. Honestly, with that, it was the Brute, and I think it was 4 of the Flogos, so
Mhm.
or Hoppers in this case. So unfortunately, you know, all right, we leaked a little bit, but we're still in a very good position with our dogs, some dogs of our own to hold 4 for us.
Meanwhile, No Balls, he's now on value with his Fiesta, does get a full send here, easily able to hold it, and presumably now he's going to press the worker button, right? Yeah, looks like he does. There's another Brute coming out though, so No Style, No Balls, definitely going for these aggressive power mercenary plays in the early game. Pakistan, what is his answer? He has 140 gold, that looks like Mudman to me, it does indeed. I think he should just do fine here. Yeah, he even goes for the Seraphim as well. Now, the one danger here is that his Archer gets overrun because he only has one melee unit here and it's a slime, so we'll have to see. That Archer might just end up dying very quickly.
The Archer is able to tank the boss for a little bit, doing a decent amount of damage, and that's pretty much all that's going to go on to him, so I think he's going to be okay.
Can it live? It can, okay. Perfect. It only pulled the boss +1. I think if it pulled even one more Scorpion, the Archer would have died and he would have leaked really, really badly, but like this, his aggro was perfect. And he's actually just going to leak the Brute and nothing else. So very nice there. No Balls, meanwhile, a very clean Fiesta against the Snail. Just 4 creeps leaked there. He's having a bit of a game, actually. 9 workers for both No Style and No Balls. These guys have got their economy rolling, it seems. And meanwhile, the double Brute coming out here on 6 into Fake One, who is looking pretty vulnerable here with his Priestess and Bounty Hunter on wave 6.
Yeah, this is kind of a rough position for Fake One in Pakistan to kind of maneuver through. If they're able to do just that, they'll probably be okay for a little bit. We do have the Archer and we do have the Slime Mommy who are very good on the next couple waves. Poda, obviously, she's fine on 8, or, you know, good on 8, fine on 7. We need this KP probably as soon as possible, but if we survive this wave, we're feeling pretty okay if we're Fake One.
Yeah. Now, these Brutes are wailing away on Fake One. I mean, he's basically on value, but a lot of his value is super weak here, like the Howlers, the Bounty Hunters. Priestess is very good, and it tanked almost perfectly, by the way. He might just hold here, actually. He's sniping one of the Brutes. This is looking good. That is a hold for Fake One, and it's a hold for Pakistan as well. So these guys are doing extremely well. Meanwhile, though, it looks like I was watching the wrong lane Seto, because No Style versus just an 80 cent, and he's on value as well, by the way, leaking 50%. So this was a really good trade for the side of it's a trade-off.
Absolutely. Oh wait, good name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, you know, the elite archer performing one way in one lane and another way in another lane, feeling pretty good for Pakistan being that castle player, getting up to 12 workers, being number 1 in the lobby on wave 7. As I said, if they survive that wave, they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, and speaking of castle players, by the way, on the top of the power score table, so Pakistan in a very good spot in this game, it seems. If he's able to maintain that, his late game should be juicy. And yeah, we do see the hardened Mudman here. He might be in a spot of bother on wave 8, actually, if No Style does decide to go for the power send here. The one thing in his favour, if I see this, on wave 7 with this unit on the board and a hardened Mudman, my immediate thought would be that he's just shifting for the Trinity Archer, right? So I don't think I would full send into that on wave 8.
Yeah, pretty much exactly that. Mudman has good and bad waves. Wave 9, very good wave for the Mudman, so at least we're hardening here, and we'll have it prepped for basically Elite Archer's very bad wave, which is wave 9. So it's not the worst thing in the world. He did cover for his mate there, the fake one. So the harden seemingly working out very nicely.
Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect there. So No Style did not send into the dehardened Mudman here on wave 8. Pakistan would have been in pretty big trouble, I think, by the way, because he didn't shift, he just pressed the worker button, so he cannot get that Elite Archer here on wave 8, and he would have leaked massive, because No Style did have the Mythium to send a pack leader. But yeah, we have a pretty big send coming out from Pakistan into No Balls. There's Mimic and Robo. Will he get the second Robo? I think he will. He does. So 240 Mythium wanders into No Ball's lane. Let's see if he's able to counter this. The casket is not hitting the wave. It dies very, very quickly. The Mimic is still alive, in fact. 2 Zeus's all that's left, and that is not going to be close to enough. 93% leak there for No Balls. Very, very big impact there from Pakistan. Very well-timed save.
Absolutely. If he couldn't get or didn't want the after income GK, he is going to get the very effective Mimic. While it didn't get that much gold, it did its job very well in keeping that Iron Maiden off the wave itself.
Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, here we get this wave 9 counterplay coming out. So No Style has sent Ogre Brute. Fake One has a similar send of his own going into No Style, and we're going to see this should be a bit juicy now on wave 9. Big sends all around. Are we going to see some pretty significant king damage? And if so, who's going to come out on top? We do get the Kingpin upgraded here from Fake One. He has plus 140 value, so he should be just fine here. Pakistan, meanwhile, he has a hardened Golem, but he's really lacking DPS, I feel like, for wave 9, and against a 260 send, this might just not be enough.
Yeah, I was really hoping to see just the hardened Mudman instead of Golem, and then building the Millennium there just for that damage that he's so desperately going to need to at least soften the wave.
Oh, 320 myth for Pakistan, 280 for No Style. No Style does have the Giga Breaker though, which is very, very good on wave 9, but the Ogre actually managing to make short work of that. Let's chop back to Pakistan's lane. The Ogre is getting through his front line very, very quickly. The hardened Golem is down. He's doing very well actually, but it won't be quite enough to hold. Meanwhile, No Style, that's a 75% lead. We do have a hold from No Balls, 71 from Pakistan, and yes, with the Kingpin upgraded, Fake One is able to cover and hold for his mate in the mid as well, so no king damage, therefore it's a trade-off. Meanwhile, actually kind of minimal king damage as well for the side of No Greed Balls Feed, because No Balls was able to cover for his teammate as well.
Yeah, the Mimic that was sent for wave 8 there from Pakistan kind of depleted his Mythium count going into 9, which, you know, is fine because it gave everyone else a chance to stockpile some bricks, but the kind of effect, the unfortunate unintended effect is that, you know, now you leak pretty decently.
Yeah. Well, we do see the side of it's a trade-off in a very good position economically. Both of those players are on shutdown already, wave 10. And by the way, they're playing Castle versus Cartel. That's clearly not the position you want to be in as a Cartel player if your Castle opponent is on fire pre-wave 11.
No, not at all. We did see the tail of the tape kind of happening on wave 6 there. The prediction came in early, but it was the correct prediction by me. Whereas I said, if they hold, they're in a good spot. So I love being right, and this is one of those very awesome times to be just that.
Amazing. We do get a hold here from Pakistan against the Mole, which is very juicy, and Fake One just barely leaks there, but that's a 25 gold shutdown. No balls leaking again, No Style holding, so no real king damage, but Seto, here is where the power spikes really kick in, because Fake One and Pakistan, as we said, they're already ahead, but now No Style is going to take a big hit to his income from the cartel penalty, and Pakistan is going to take a big boost to his from that castle power spike. So, the side of it's a trade-off. They are in a really good position now as we go into the mid-game.
Not only are they in a really good position just economically, Pakistan's got the heckin' kind of god APS duo in the Millennium Doomsday and the Trinity Archer.
Oh
Both
wow,
of
he
those
really
love attack
has,
speed.
actually, yeah. With the Dark Mage as well for those Doomsdays. Holy.
So Pakistan going into this mid game feeling very good. Fake One here doesn't even bother to get the Azeria, decided that the worker button was more important. I agree. It's okay.
Mhm. No Style, No
We do
Balls, they
need a
have gone for a
13
bit of a
answer though.
cheeky resend here, though. So they took Pawn Shop, used it to press workers, and they've gone for a full resend here on 11, correctly reading that Fake One and Pakistan would both go for the Creditor play. So let's see how successful this is. We've got 200 Mythium for Fake One, 180 for Pakistan. This Archer is doing the Lord's work, though, just tanking the perfect amount and surviving. Gets in so much free DPS. Can it even clear the left side of the wave? Oh! It just clears the Hermit before it dies. Okay, it did its job. 41% leak there for Pakistan. Fake One will leak as well, but not badly here either. That's another 40%. Is a shutdown, however. And a little bit more gold, of course, when these creeps reach the king. But I still think Fake One and Pakistan are in a really good spot here.
Absolutely. So, no balls and no style here. Getting a little bit of free cred themselves by shutting down the Fake One. But honestly, the amount of workers that everyone is going to be able to push, I feel like still greatly favors Fake One in Pakistan
Yeah.
once they cash in this next amount of cred.
Well, this is the important one now, right? Because no Greed Balls Feed, they have gone for a full resend yet again here on wave 12. So, can It's a Trade-off hold here? It's really, really important. Clearly, they're both going for their double cred again. And Fake One in particular is pretty far undervalued. He has got good units, of course, with the Kingpin, with the Sunfang. Pakistan, I mean, he looks like he should hold with the Golems. He's even hardening one Mudman. And the Trinity Archer should just shred that side of the wave, so I think Pakistan is just fine. Fake One, meanwhile, his Pota does die very quickly. Still not got that Azeria upgraded just yet. And now it looks like the Brutes, they are stacking on his one Kingpin. So this is actually going to be a pretty decent leak here from Fake One on wave 12 with the Kingpin Sunfang build. Yeah, 82% there. And actually, I said Pakistan was going to be fine, but he financed. That's a 57% leak from him as well. So, no style, no balls. They're really, really playing to their outs here. I love to see it.
Absolutely, and again, getting a little bit of that cred value back in the form of shutdowns here. So they are making money each wave, just the same way as Fake One in Pakistan are.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, it's very, very clear to me that this Creditor has not paid off. In fact, oh, they just barely survived, actually. 2% HP on this Earth King here. Yeah, the Creditor clearly backfiring there for the side of It's a Trade-off. They lost more gold than they gained. They fed more gold to their opponents with those shutdowns. But that said, this Wave 13 send is pretty massive now. And it looks like they're not taking any risks here. Pakistan is playing plus 200 value with his Doomsday, so he is planning to hold the resend here on 13. And Fake One, I mean, he's probably going to leak again, honestly. But the big sends are going to be here on the side of No Greed Balls Feed. We have double Four Eyes into No Style. We have a Kraken into No Balls, who did get the Hades upgraded, by the way, but the Kraken is just perfectly tanking that for a very, very long time. Does now go down, but his front line is also going down, so let's see which one wins out there. No Style, meanwhile, he's doing really well, actually. On the side of, yep, Fake One, that's a massive leak, 97%. Meanwhile, we actually just get very small leaks on this side. No Style, I mean, sure, it's 120%, but the units are all very low. However, that said, they have absolutely zero king upgrades, like not even a single one.
Yep. I think notably, I found out today that Fatalizer is pretty good on 13, and 2 Fatalizers is even better, so No Style here holding pretty decently, but not enough to win the game.
Seto, they're just dead!
Yeah, it's over.
Wow,
It's
okay,
actually, just it.
I was saying, like, those leaks are not too big, which they're not. Like we have a big percentage here, but these two golems are both on 1 HP. But it was enough because they had literally 0 king upgrades. I feel like if they had even 1 point in king attack, they're surviving this, right? But wow, I didn't expect to see them die there from 70% king HP. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm learning something here. Cartel Fiesta, not good.
Apparently so, yeah. So that was, what was it, Greed and Castle coming out from Fake One and Pakistan. But, Seto, importantly, what this means is we get to see game number 3. That's pretty cool.
I love game 3s. I especially love game 5s. We shouldn't be seeing any of those today, I don't think.
No, I don't think we'll be seeing any
remarkable.
game 5s today, unfortunately. But, I mean, I'm looking at this graph here, Seto, this win probability, and this is not the sort of graph you want to have if you're playing Cartel versus Castle, right? Because the Castle team were favoured all the way from the very start of the game through to the end. So whatever went wrong here for No Greed Balls Feed, they need to make sure there's no repeat of that. I mean, sure, they gave them a free 4 gold with the snails on 1. Then we had, you know, post-income brute shenanigans and stuff like that. Fake One holding the 140 on 6 was pretty huge, while No Style leaks to a much smaller send. And then Wave 8, I think, is where the tides really started to turn. Massive leak on No Balls, while big holds there on Wave 9. Actually, from pretty much everyone, only minor leaks there into the big play here on 12. So No Style, No Balls, they made some interesting plays with the full sends on 11 and 12 both. Clearly, like, nullifying that creditor. But the one mistake they made was going for the re-send on 13, where maybe, you know, Income King would have certainly kept them in the game and maybe even put them in a really strong position.
I wouldn't say that was the one mistake, but that was certainly the clincher for sure.
It was the final straw, right? It was
Absolutely.
the last,
Yeah,
the
no,
last nail in
that
the
would be
coffin.
the one, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is much easier to focus on the last mistake rather than all of the incremental ones leading up to it.
Absolutely. I'm enjoying chat catching up to Wave 12 there and the commentary, not knowing what we know now.
Yeah, it is interesting to read chat from 5 minutes behind and see the realization dawn on people. But hey, Seto, we're about to see game number 3. So if you're a betting man, where's your money going this game? No Greed Balls Feed, or do you think it's a trade-off we're going to clinch it?
I love momentum, and even though we've seen a shift in the momentum,
Mhm.
we have very strong players on either side regardless. As long as we don't see any Cartel Fiesta, I think we're going to be okay.
Okay, well, Seto, without any further ado, game number 3 is here. Let's let the players decide who's going to come out on top. Let's go. All right. What do you think about these mastermind spells, by the way? Legion spells, sorry, like the Dark Ritual, Hero, Titan.
So Titan, I feel like, has kind of lost its place in my life. I haven't used it in a very long time. Hero always feels good when you have any kind of aura, and I do see an APS on No Style currently, and he's got a gun possibly in an APS,
Mhm.
or even a double. But the Dark Ritual, the money play as Seto Kaiba, is the play that I would make pretty much 10 times out of 10,
Of course.
even at full King HP, because I'm kind of a bastard.
Well, you're a fourth-rate duelist with a third-rate deck, right? Or vice versa.
One or the other.
Meanwhile, we have No Balls with a pretty juicy YOLO roll, actually, going for the trademark Flower Angler play, although that combo is much weaker than it was in the previous patch. They also both go for the Snail Sends. It didn't work out for them last game. It's not going to work out for them this game either, I don't think. And, yeah. Oh, wait.
And
Does it?
yeah.
The Snail might work against Pakistan here, but Tempest is very, very strong on wave 1, so let's see.
It is very strong on wave 1. I think, interestingly, though, we do see a Flower Angler in the slightly incorrect position for no balls when we get a chance to look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, like, the classic Atrocity position has them shifted over by 1 square each.
Wow, Pakistan. Unfortunate.
Mm. But interesting that No Style No Balls have snailed them on one in both games, expecting to see them repeat the Fiesta pick that they did in game one, and It's a Trade-off have just not picked it again since it didn't work out for them in the first game.
It didn't work out, and maybe now it's just a bait. Now he'll start getting free snails
Yeah.
into his Tempest.
I mean, it's a mini cash out, right? If you're just going to get a free 4 gold every game.
A delayed cash out. Like it.
Okay, meanwhile, there's a couple more income snails coming out here from both No Style and Pakistan. No Balls obviously will be completely fine against that. Let's see, how will Pakistan do against the snail resend? Because remember, he's actually not playing Fiesta, but maybe cosplaying it a little bit too well here, it seems.
Yeah, we're still getting most of our gold back with the
Mhm.
changes to uh, leaks, but in the early game, but it still feels a little bad to keep leaking this many times over and over.
Yeah. He does have 6 workers though, but so does No Balls, right? So it's not like he has a crazy worker lead. In fact, No Balls has gone all the way to 7, so he actually has lower workers while leaking both of the first 2 waves than No Ball does while holding. So economically speaking, I think No Balls is in a pretty strong position.
I fully agree here, and I think No Style is fully taking advantage of their champion aura here, or not aura, but buff on the Disciple here,
Against,
letting this steed do the correct amount of tanking.
yeah, against the 60 send, let's see. I do think that Disciple is a very bad target for champion, but I also agree, looking at No Style's role, that he doesn't really have any good targets for it. What I probably would have done is just use the reroll button though, because like if you're playing champion, it's very important to get that buff on a good unit, and Disciple just isn't it. He does leak very small there, but meanwhile Fake One actually leaking 37% there against his 60 cent. So did go for a spicy Fire Archer in the split, didn't work out this time, unfortunately for him.
Unfortunately for him, indeed, especially because No Style, I think he was the one that I had noted had the APS gun champion.
Mhm.
So really shifting away from, what might have once been strong. I mean, hidden gun tech has been finally nerfed into the ground and non-existent.
Yeah, the bugged attack speed gun is no more, thankfully. Okay, so we
Sorry,
have
I'm
got
noticing, a severe deficit of value on the fake one there. Just everything being in Swift and calling it good enough.
oh, but he's Giga shifting. It's actually a genius play. Like he's so strong here on this wave with Nightmare and Fire Archer, but really weak on wave 5. So he shifted all of his gold, hoping for a good unit, and he's rewarded because he can place this Priestess here now on wave 5 and be just fine.
It's definitely a feels good moment here. He also, if he really wants, could put down the Shadow Dancer if he's feeling it's particularly juicy. But
I think he
knowing that
can't
Robo
quite
is,
afford that, right? He's going to be a little bit shy.
oh, you're absolutely correct. I again, math. I don't know why I can't do it today.
It's that NA education, my friend, is what it is.
Oh heck, they said I was the good one.
And they weren't lying. It's just relative, you know.
I suppose.
All
Uh,
right, but yeah, with this double robo send in particular, Fake One is going to be giga rewarded here because the priestess is just absolutely perfect against that magic damage. He should get a juicy split here as well, and Fake One is just going to hold against this 120 Mythium send here on 5, I think.
yeah, that is a lot of Robos.
He's
Not
even
getting
getting a
to the
really nice
priestess.
split
Not
tank
that it
here as well on the
matters. Yeah, the archer living for way too long.
yeah. Priestess just needs one more heal, I think, to full hold. There it is. Oh, wait, maybe leaking a couple of robos? Okay, that's fine though. 120 send, very small leak. Pakistan does hold, meanwhile No Style leaks small to a brute send. But actually, No Balls, he's fully holding a double robo send as well. So although Fake One pulled off a miracle hold there on 5 with very clever shifting of gold, um, isn't quite as rewarding as it could have been because No Style No Balls did work so well against their sends as well.
Absolutely here. No Ball's holding remarkably well for only being 25 over. And No Style there, unfortunately, their champion disciple not working out yet, and kind of a rat pack sitting on the field is, what, 40 gold. That sits into what, 320 HP total or 400
Yeah,
HP total? Not
yeah,
a lot. 360. 360, it's 360. It's
it
not
is.
360. It's 320.
Meanwhile, No
God
Balls is
damn it.
playing turbo on value. He is receiving a full send here, though, from Pakistan, and his units are quite bad on 6. So we'll have to see how he performs here. The Robo is going to get killed by this Serpent, but it lives a very long time before that happens. Brute's still alive and wailing away. Oh no, now the Brute is solo on the Coiler. That's kind of unfortunate there. But of course the Bounty Hunter will die very, very quickly against the Roccos, and I don't think the Serpent can kill the Brute in time. No, it can't. 66% leak there for No Balls. That's a very decent amount of gold there. Pakistan, meanwhile, leaking quite small to a Fiend.
Absolutely. No Balls has decided that uh, if they're going to be sent brutes, they're going to send brutes back.
Yep. Oh, and here comes some more. Yeah, the counterattack, like you say, we get the double Brute from No Balls. No Style doesn't quite have enough. In fact, I don't even think that No Style can send a Robo with his Brute. This is going to be a Brute Snail on 7, and Pakistan is looking very, very fine here, I think, with the quadruple Tempest and a Green Devil to tank.
Yep, the Green Devil's going to live for not quite ever with the brutes punching it in the face. However, oh no, not the Oathbreaker.
Yeah, that seems worse than what his previous build was.
I fully agree. Yeah, so his levies won't do, or Tempest won't do any of the tanking, whereas at least there was a chance before. The Oathbreaker is going to go down relatively quickly, but only one brute being in the wave.
This is terrible, by the way. I sorry to interrupt you there, but I just saw the Priestess getting snacked here in lane 1 with the fake one. He added a Pegasus here to try and keep it alive. It did nothing. He leaked 74%. That's really bad for him.
Yeah, that's definitely an oopsie doopsie there. Very, very costly oopsie doopsie.
Yeah.
Despite being 775 value and only 10 workers, the mispositioning there killing the Poda.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I think as well because he has like 2 mana units there with the Harpy and the Fire Archer. The Pegasus is just a very, very low value, right? It doesn't give the Priestess nearly enough mana to keep it alive. When it tanks so much, and we saw it here, it died very quickly, and then his Pegasus was just dead value.
Yep, the Pegasus also charging mana into a lot of different units there,
Yeah.
feeling kind of like a fake unit almost with all that it had to do.
Is it true that
That
you
wave.
never liked Pegasus anyway?
Well, so listen, it's my game. They're rich. I'm rich. They try to beat me at my own game.
Yeah,
Hello?
it's rude, right? It's disrespectful.
It is disrespectful. I honestly don't know where they get the gall.
Hey, Pakistan, he does get a full resend here. It is triple Dragon Turtle. However, 2 of them go right, so his Tempests do get on the way pretty quickly. Will it be enough for a leak? The Green Devil living for a very long time here.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Is the Green Devil exists, so it was
Yeah.
just a weird full resend.
Yeah, really rewarding there actually for Pakistan because he was turbo undervalue. He would have been in a bit of trouble here, I think, on wave 9, but he got bailed out by that triple DT send on 8, so now he's very strong here on 9 and even 10. Meanwhile, his teammate Fake One is getting a big send with the double brute coming out from No Balls, but Pakistan is going to be just fine and able to cover in the mid as well. Speaking of which, Fake One, he does now get out his Azeria. He did that by selling the Fire Archer, so now the Pegasus should have more value as well, right?
Yeah, the Pegasus will actually do something, as in get an extra cast off for the Azeria. Most likely, um, it will result in not quite a hold, but the positioning is much better too, as the POTUS not getting punched in the face right off the bat. So, pretty good play here, letting that live for a little while.
Yeah, and it doesn't quite reach the next heal, it does not, but that's pretty respectable there. 53% leak from the Fake One against a full send. Meanwhile, how is No Style doing? He got a full send of his own. Very, very well, it seems, actually. Of course, both of them on grey value. Fast and aggressive plays all around, it seems, but rewarded because they both leak very, very small to their full sends. So, you know, there's a time and a place for value.
Absolutely, and that time and a place is clearly in this third game here. Everyone knowing that this is the easiest way to continue in the tournament is to win this game in
Hmm.
particular. So, we're going to be a little more respectful of our opponents.
Yeah, for sure. And both teams probably feeling the pressure as well, right? Because, like you said, it's game number 3, and the series is tied 1-1, and they just want to play it safe and slow and steady. Nobody really willing to make any big risks that might backfire. And let's see, though, we have got a couple of full resends coming out on wave 10 from No Style, No Balls. Fake One, I mean, he looks garbage here. He has 2 Nightmares, and the rest of his board is just dead value on 10.
Yeah. Um, the good news is we can Giga Push though,
Hmm.
so we have that going for us. It's Azirion on 11, classically pretty good.
True, true. Pakistan, meanwhile, I mean, his board is much better on 10, but it's kind of hard countered by a mole. Like, the Tempest Leviathan damage is just split too well, the mole reducing it even further, and yeah, we do see them both leaking decently here. The good thing is they have some king upgrades, and once again, by the way, just wanted to point this out, no Greed Balls feed clearly don't prioritise king upgrades. It bit them in the arse last game, let's see if it happens again this time.
I think most unfortunately, besides the leak there from Pakistan, is that they are a cartel. So that gold that they like, their income is still the highest in the game, but they no longer get that benefit of
Yeah,
+9.
yeah, true, true, true. Meanwhile, we have Fake One with the Titan for his Aziria, which is one of the best unit Legion spell combos in the game. Now, obviously, like a Divine Blessing is better, but the benefit is that Titan will never go away, like a Blessing might when you leak.
True. That's one of the few areas where, in my opinion, it's still worthwhile, that or Bunk or one of the other fun tanks, even Phoenix. But Titan pretty much dead to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Hero super fun though.
Titan is just very consistent, solid value, right? Now, let's see, because all 4 players are starting to save their Mythium. If I'm looking at these boards, Seto, like wave 14 is definitely speaking to me. How do you feel about like a Mega Send on 14?
I think that everyone is looking kind of sus on 14. Maybe Pakistan is looking the best with their levy spam, kind of, but their Hades obviously will be unfortunately inept on that wave.
Yeah.
We will have a decent amount of chunk damage coming out of these disciples eventually. They're going to be heroed and championed as well, so could be a lot of value coming out from No Style.
Now, the other thing is whether or not any of the players can afford to skip wave 13, right? Because, like, I'm looking at these builds, and wave 14 definitely looks like the best wave to send. But the values are also starting to look pretty sus, right? We've got Fake One minus 450, No Balls minus 430. I don't know, man.
Where are Fake One's tanks actually? And why do they have 2 nightmares?
It's the life of a Chaos player if you don't high roll every single roll, right? And yeah, look, Fake One and Pakistan, they were feeling the pressure. They don't think that they can afford to skip wave 13. Do go for a big send here. Now let's see. Oh, No Style, No Balls. They are feeling the same, actually. So we see this Kraken and Needler coming out as well. So mega sends coming out from all 4 players. Is anybody strong enough to hold here on 13?
Yeah, that Kraken is going to do an insane amount of work, because that's all Pakistan has. Is he's upping the orchids, which is lovely. He's pumping the shurikens into them, but that Hades is never going to be able to summon more than 1 dragon.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now, if there's one thing in Pakistan's favour is the Kraken will go right. So his Hades and his Orchid on the left should shred the left-hand side of the wave. But yeah, that Kraken is going to be problematic when it wraps back around. So mega sends here, 480 for Fake One, 500, 480 and 520 again. So everybody getting massive sends here. The value is in favour of no Greed Balls feed. And look at this! The Aziria is sniping this Needler here in Fake One's lane. That's just perfect for him. Is that even a hold? He's going to kill the Golem. Remember, that's a Titan Aziria. Meanwhile, a pretty decent leak here from Pakistan, 63%. No, Fake One leaks as well, 33. No Style, 85. And we have a dream hold here from No Balls with a 520 full hold. So, pretty impressive stuff.
really quite impressive. We do see Paki now sitting on a couple of Berserkers. That would have been very effective versus that wave, especially with the Kraken. A little unfortunate he didn't roll that sooner. The fake one there did get some value out of their Swift Doppels on 13, but I think more importantly, we did find an Orchid or two during that wave.
Yeah. Seto, what do you think about this? This is very cheeky now. A full resend here coming out from the side of no Greed Balls feed, but Pakistan is playing on value, it seems. In fact, he's playing plus 100. And Fake One, if he does decide to build with that 145 gold, he'll be over value as well. But it looks like he's rather going to shift, maybe hoping for a better unit to come up in his role next wave.
Paki here doing the exact right thing here. Overbuilding, we did say earlier that 14 was looking juicy for most of the players, so seeing it come out here with the double mimic, I think that's kind of good, but we do have finally a Doppel doing absolute work on the wave as well.
Oh, but the Titan Azeria just could not quite tank enough on the left-hand side. It was close, honestly. There was like 2 creeps there killing it. But yeah, actually, Pakistan, he's leaking as well. I think this is just game, Seto. Wow.
Yeah, we don't have enough value. I think that our Polish duo maybe going down here. We can get one more.
Ooh, if it got off that last dragon, that may have just kept them alive. 30% King HP. They have got a decent number of upgrades. Will it be enough? I think it's close.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit of work.
Oh, they survive. Do they? It's so close, Seto!
Okay,
1%! 1%!
100 HP on that king. Don't even
Wow. Wow. And remember, that was off the back of the Hades on like 59 out of 60 mana. So if it did get that last dragon summon, it wouldn't have even been close. But wow.
Yeah, I appreciate No Balls' comment there. 2% last game wasn't close enough, and he's absolutely correct. We went to just barely a hair over 0.1.
Having said that, though, they're still in a really good spot, right? They're both on fire. No Balls with a 75 gold shutdown. And despite both of them pushing decently for that 14 resend, like, they're still more or less on value.
I mean, they have to leak a snail at this point to win.
This is great, though, if you're a trade-off fan. So, No Balls did spend 60 gold on boosts here. There was no send, so...
Yeah, we are looking at a Mythium total on Pakistani of approaching 700, so... Oh, and the incomes. So, No Style and No Balls are getting nervous. They do only have to survive.
Yeah, Fake One and Pakistan still need to be able to hold against the incomes end, but I think they should be okay.
I'm going to say with both of them full Orchids, they're going to be just fine here. Interesting that No Style is concerned about Wave 16 here, with a champion hero Starcaller being Swift. Honestly, the best tank you could possibly ever hope for on Wave 16.
Yeah, absolutely. But it looks like it's going to be a Wave 17 send, right, from It's a Trade-Off, and they're going to have a decent chunk of Mythium there as well. I mean, these income sends are huge, right? I think if No Style No Balls had just gone for a full send here, it might well have been game ending, because we even see the Azeria dying here against the income send.
Yep. And these Doppels still don't have any lifesteal on them, even though at this point it's pretty much worth.
He has rolled an aura now, though. He can place a white mane there if he wants to on 17. But he might just go for the balls as well. Alright, full sends coming out from everybody. Obviously the sends of No Style No Balls way smaller because they haven't been saving their Mythium. They've not been stockpiling their bricks.
I mean, their impatience kind of gave them a nice juicy lead anyway, so No Balls, No Style feeling probably still, even this moment, pretty good. Shockingly, only a little bit ahead in income, despite all of that extra time that they had to gather that income.
Yeah, but just in value terms, they're way ahead, right? So, like, No Style is basically 1,000 value ahead of everybody else in the game.
Yep, that 49-45 looking very juicy. And again, these Starcallers are no slouches throughout the rest of this game here.
Yeah. And they have a hero buff as well, just to boost their damage and survivability. We do have Nobles actually killing his own backline there, but these sends are massive setup. We've got 960 for Nostyle, 1080 for Nobles as well. I don't think either player can hold. The question is, will it be enough to kill them? But actually, meanwhile, Fake One is leaking massively here in lane number 1. They might just be losing the race.
Yeah, very much so.
Oh.
Unfortunately, Hades not typically good on 17 there. So despite having a couple dragons to their name, also the levies with versus flying units also not typically very good. Going to be game right there.
Wow, this one was a roller coaster, man. It was so back and forth. Let me take a quick peek at this graph. Okay, it not so much a roller coaster as a ski slope it looks like. So from a bit of a peak there on wave 8, it just went from bad to worse if you're a trade-off fan, with Jules favouring No Greed Balls Feed more and more with every wave, it seems. Now, what were the turning points here? I guess we had decent leaks on 9, followed by re-leaks on 10, going down to 50% King HP. And then we had the back-to-back leaks with a 13 send into 14 resend into income 16, and then just death on 17. So Nostyle, no balls, piloting this one pretty nicely. And you know what? I don't even think they were going to die here. So with the 60%, 40% leaks, they did actually have king upgrades this time around as well. I think they were just going to live. So even if they didn't kill, it's a trade-off here on 17. They're just winning this game from that position, right? Because they'd be so far ahead economically.
Yeah, it's literally exactly that. There was not a real chance. Like you needed to one shot them, but you gave No Style and No Balls 3 waves to do king ups.
Yeah.
That's going to be enough, pretty much 10 times out of 10.
Well, I mean that was some very exciting games. We do have a winner from that game. So obviously we saw No Greed Balls Feed winning 2-1 here in the group stage. Let me see if we can see any results from the rest of Division 1. And we can. So I can see that somehow the secret agents, that is Drakir and Atrocity, they were able to beat Don Daniel and Bleach Sipin 2-0.
No way.
So they will, no way, right? That's pretty surprising to me as well. And they will be going through to the winners match, which means we will, after a short break, be able to watch Drakir and Atrocity versus No Greed Balls Feed. So guys, that's going to be another spicy one. I think we're going to have a bit of a 10-minute break, give the players a chance to relax, and the casters as well. Don't know about you, Seto, but my voice needs a little bit of rest.
You've been doing all the hard work, so I'm good to go in the meantime. I will a little bit of water though.
Amazing, amazing. All right, Twitch chat, don't go anywhere. We will be right back in about 10 minutes' time with the winners match. So we will see you then. For now, goodbye. Welcome back, Twitch chat. Hope you enjoyed the break and didn't miss us too badly. Theto, we are back and we have an absolute banger of a series ahead of us. It's going to be the Secret Agents, that is Drakir and Atrocity, and they're going to be playing against No Greed Balls Feed, who we just saw win 2 against 1 versus it's a trade-off, so pretty spicy one here. Now I think if we're just looking like in elo terms, then clearly we have to favour Drakir and Atrocity because they are both absolute beasts on the ranked ladder. I think Drakir is sat there with something like 3.3k elo or something ridiculous at this point in the season, and Atrocity's not too far behind. So yeah, these guys are absolute monsters on the ranked ladder. We'll have to see if that translates into tournament play or not, because although both of the players do have a decent amount of tournament experience, Drakir in particular, they haven't played together before. And obviously, like, team play and the way that you can work with your partner is very, very important when it comes to these Nova Cups. So will their like raw talent be enough to overcompensate for the fact that they haven't really played together before? Whereas, of course, No Greed Balls Feed have been a tournament duo for years. We'll have to see.
So I fully agree with that sentiment. It was pretty much my point going into this. I feel like Turkey has been having a little bit of a hard time finding that synergy with people who aren't Lucy this year, and for that they've been suffering a little bit in the Nova
Hmm.
points. But like honestly, here we have kind of a match made in heaven. Atrocity being kind of a little bit of a shit stir when it comes to the meta, being kind of a very relatable and playable flower angler
Yeah.
connoisseur.
Yeah, he is the monster who introduced the Flower Angler combo that terrorized the ladder for about a month there. I think he's come up with some other spicy builds as well, so we'll have to see. I know I've played a few ranked games with him recently, and I think this guy just lives in Sandbox or something, because like he showed me some Fiesta openers which are just absolutely crazy, like always leaking a single creep and no more. And yeah, I think the guy is just very, very good when it comes to cocking up new builds and how to position them just so as well to make the most out of his units. So yeah, really excited to see how these guys play. And I think we do have a lobby available as well, by the way. So let's see if we can
We
hop
do.
into there. We do. Amazing. Yep, and everybody is ready. So we should be able to pop into this one very, very quickly. Let me see if I can sort out the scoreboards before we get into the game. Remind me of the team name. It's
Absolutely.
the Secret Agents, right? Drakir and
That's
Atrocity?
correct.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, then we have everything ready and we should get this game underway very, very quickly. So, prediction-wise, I think my money would be on Drakir and Atrocity, but I'm very, very keen to see whether No Greed Balls Feed can prove me wrong.
Pretty much the same. I think it's probably going to be a 2-0, but if we see another 2-1, I'm not saying no to that either.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But Seto, that's enough said, because here it is, game number 1. Let's go. All right, so we have a Mastermind pickup there, or Megamind, sorry, from No Style, which, by the way, is actually the same thing he did in game number 1 against It's a Trade-Off. Meanwhile, Nobles with that snap pick on the Fiesta doesn't really have a good Fiesta opener, though, I think.
He's got the. So he could go Green Devil this time. He does have the double buckler if he wants to do, and then of course the Gate Guard start, which is strong with 5 workers anyway.
Oh, true.
And then the honestly decent backup for that start if you really wanted.
Hmm.
I don't think that's such a bad choice at all.
Now, Drakir is going for a snail into No Style, who is not playing Fiesta, so that's +4 gold for him. No balls, meanwhile, I mean, he hasn't received a snail yet, but if he did go for the gate guard, that would be a giga reward for him if he gets one as well. And he is going for the gate guard, actually.
Kind of a high up Gate Guard as well.
Yeah, he wants to try and fit those Sky Queens into the build later on, right? So it makes sense.
Does make sense. I don't always like putting my Gate Guards just so high because they're more DPS than they are tank, and when they are to the wave so much sooner, they can have the chance of getting focused. And hello, snail.
He does get the snail. Now, there's no split tanking whatsoever, so The doggo does die very, very quickly. This won't be a dream aggro performance here from the Gate Guard. In fact, the main body is dying now as well. So he's going to be leaking at least half of the wave, I think. And meanwhile, of course, the mass player does hold, but very barely, actually, against the snail. And yeah, okay. Oh, 33%. He actually did much better than I thought.
33%, very respectable. The mask here shouldn't clean up any of these. Is that correct?
No, but it brings it all super, super low, right? So everything's just going to die to the first king spell. And there it goes. So not really any king damage to speak of. And meanwhile, a very, very respectable Fiesta leak there on one from Nobles. However, I think with this snail resend, he's going to do much, much worse. I think with only one gargoyle on the field, this might end up being like a 60% or something leak here.
Definitely a little bit weaker on this wave. Having the Gate Guard do pretty much everything wrong here as typing goes.
Yeah, but he just dies too quickly, right? So I don't even know if he gets the second summon here or not.
You do have the Buzzes and Atrocities lane doing a little bit of tanking for that Archer. Maybe a leak there.
Oh, he does not get the second summon, so it's actually a 70% leak. It was very close, but yeah, no cigar. Meanwhile, Atrocity does hold against the double snail, and yeah, I think everything is going in favour of the secret agents so far. It's only game number 1, but they feel like they're in a very commanding position already.
I would like very much to see Drakir be able to hold the double snail. Shouldn't be too much of an issue with the Peewee or even the Skelly Boy, as they should have enough money for that. Okay. Strong tree.
The Treant is just so strong on the wave you place it, right?
Yeah.
That 20% damage reduction is no joke.
Yep, Drak looking very good here. Going to be able to push like crazy in the following wave.
Yep. And if we pop back over to Nobles, he looks like he's doing very, very well here. You get a 60 resend, so a full resend there from Atrocity. But this time the Gate Guard has not been overwhelmed. We do see the second summon coming out. Gargoyle, of course, is just so strong on the third wave. And the Doggo is able to clear up pretty much everything on the left side.
Just about. Going to be exactly what he wants to see for that decent leak here.
Yeah, that's perfect. 20% Fiesta. So he clearly got punished there on wave 2, but wave 3 is very, very juicy there for Nobles. So signs of life, it seems, for No Greed Force Feed.
Absolutely. Everyone's sitting on 7 workers, and the value's looking pretty good for our players.
Yep, and
like,
Jules
Noble
is split right down the middle, right? He's saying it's pretty much bang on 50-50.
Yeah, despite that HP difference, which, you know, generally speaking, seems to favor the team with the higher king HP at this point in the game.
Yeah.
Nobles here going to value with Harpies.
This is where, if I was on the side of no style or no balls, there's just no way that I'd be able to resist popping at least one regen, right? Because you just get so much value from it throughout the course of the game.
Absolutely. 10 HP turned into 100 HP turns into 1,000 very quickly.
But they are, of course, favouring the pressure instead of that king HP, which, you know, it's a trade-off.
The Harpies here are just way too giga strong here for no balls. I'm a little confused about the visual bug here for me with that flying Harpy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's yeah. What is going on there? That's that's an interesting one. Jules?
New to me.
It looks very pretty,
boy.
at least.
It certainly does, but just a moment here. Is that 2 brutes on 5?
That is 2 brutes, and this is wave 5, yeah. So we do have the Pilgrim coming down here from No Star, which is basically cheating, and the fully boosted Infiltrator as well, so that boss should die rather quickly.
But the Green Devil does as well, and we're going to see all that pierce damage just get soaked into that Infiltrator, and then I don't see any more casts coming out for that Pilgrim, so it's going to be a very, very juicy leak.
It's getting overwhelmed. The Masters clear off one more, so that's 67% there. There was actually a Harbinger popped out here from Nobles, but even that is not enough. So he really should have held there. It's only 100 cent. He's on value with good units. But that was a 44% leak, and No Greed Force Feed are going to lose quite a sizable chunk of king HP here. That's 3 brutes and a robo reaching the cling, plus some scorpions to boot.
Yeah, I don't think Jules is going to favor the Japanese team as highly anymore, going down to
No.
just about 58% HP. But this is my problem: is the gate, or in this case, the Harbinger, just wasn't able to do the damage that it needed to do. It tanked way too soon.
Yeah, yeah. I really think it's. I mean, look, by the time you're on wave 5, it doesn't make as much of a difference. But I think like a summoning unit with a unit like Harpy, which just needs other units to tank for it, there's just anti-synergy there, right? Because both of those units need other units to tank so that they can get the most out of their abilities. And if you have your value split between two units like that, it just means your other one is weaker than it could be.
But with all of that being said, we have a very, very nice unit here on 6, and so therefore, no balls, despite being minus 120, they were able to push to 12 workers on this wave.
Meanwhile, there was a Hermit send here into Drakir, and he is just very barely leaking, but he was plus 35 value as well, so you kind of prefer to hold if you're sitting on plus 35.
Absolutely. Gun, though, you kind of accept the leaks on 6, generally speaking. Oh, explodey tree.
Okay. So double brute send here into no balls on 7. However, no balls maybe learnt from the error of his ways. He now has quite a bit of tank value with the Green Devil and triple Gargoyle as well. Atrocity will get a snail to go with his brutes. We'll have to see, because he is really undervalued actually, like minus 235. That's a lot.
Minus 235 value is kind of a big deal. So when that number is red, generally speaking, it can be a little bit scary. And the mask here for no style is not tantruming.
Oh yeah, and a lot of his other units are magic damage, right? So pretty weak on 7, and it does look like he's getting overwhelmed. Does get one more heal, that was pretty clutch. He's able to clear off a few more slimes because of that, but meanwhile, no ball 70%, no style 70%, and their king is in trouble, my friend. If it was already low, it's about to get much, much lower.
This could be a little bit of a fast game here, which generally speaking favors the cartel player. They like it when the game gets, this out of control this early.
I mean, talking about out of control, right? Drakir's on 15 workers, very, very solid income as well. And he's even getting an income send here from Nobles, so if there was any pressure he was under on wave 9, it is kind of evaporating already with this Dino send.
Yep, and he's looking just fine on 9. He's going to probably have a big gun on 10, and even if he doesn't, he's got 2 guns right now, and everyone knows in America what's better than 1 gun? 2.
He's in a very, very good spot now on Drakir. Actually, he might even push a few more workers here despite that wave 9 weakness.
Yep, and the tree gets off very nice damage there. His 1 gun tanked exactly the correct amount of damage, and now the other one's doing a little bit of trade-off for itself. Atrocity here, he's got the Shadow Dancer for 9, feeling very good. We do get a pack.
Okay, so full send's coming out from no Greed Balls feed both. Drakir going for the full send into no style. Kind of interested as to why Atrocity didn't send, but I guess he just didn't really have enough Mythium. Didn't feel like he could do much against the Harbinger, never mind 2 of them on wave 9.
Sure. Even that Berserker there is not going to naturally do very much of anything, but it will give those Harbingers a little bit more time to get off those extra summons, that scaling time that we needed so desperately.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so
Oh,
no star receiving the biggest send here. That's a 2. Oh, that was a post-income Ogre from Atrocity. We spoke too soon. But actually the Ogre is just getting Giga sniped here, so I think Snowballs is just holding.
Sucks.
Yeah, that's disgusting,
So
actually. That's so lucky there for No Balls, but I mean, he just holds now easily, I think. Meanwhile, his mate, No Style, he does not hold. That's a 92% leak for him. Drakir, he's leaking very small there, 25% against the Double Brute. And Atrocity, he is HH holding.
Well, so maybe he didn't have to send the post-income Ogres. We're not going to get any king damage off of this, I'm relatively certain. But for the style, you can't say he has none.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And yeah, the post-income Ogre really backfiring here from Atrocity, because there's effectively what maybe 5% more King HP damage than they would have done otherwise. But um, yeah, it's not great for him at all. And we do see Atrocity pretty low on the power score table as a result. But he can come back from that, and clearly with their 100% King HP versus 30, they're still in a very dominant position.
Absolutely. I think the only mistake Atrocity's made so far, besides that ogre, was placing this gate that he has not behind the Treant with no buffs on it.
Oh, true, right? Because you want the regen on your gate, right? Of
You might
course.
want that.
Yeah,
I do,
yeah. It's
personally.
a solid combo. Alright, Drakir getting full resend here with the Mole Brute. He did upgrade his Vulcan Cannon, however, and the Scallywag is a very good tank on 10. Deceptively so, I would say.
Could be deceptively so, could be Maybelline, and we are absolutely holding everything on this wave.
Easy
Atrocity,
holds.
despite not upping that Elite Archer, is still going to hold just fine.
And Drakir and Atrocity, they're starting to have quite a scary amount of Mythium, 250 on both. Wave 12 looking pretty weak actually for no style, no balls, so we'll have to see if that's something they want to go for. Drakir does take the press the attack. Atrocity on hero, however, which suggests that maybe they don't want to try and end the game on 12.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps it's a little bit of that synergy that we talked about earlier, or maybe just we're not super confident that the game does end on 12. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But if we need a little bit of insurance, let's take the hero on those gates because that does typically feel pretty good. And the
Yeah,
Shadow
right.
Dancer.
Yeah, it's a very good combo. Okay, the full king upgrades coming out from the side of No Greed Force Feed, but it does feel like they're kind of clutching at straws at this point. Clearly feeling the pressure Drakir and Atrocity are placing upon them, and I have to say it's going to be a wave 12 send coming out here. No style, no balls, both already decently undervalued, and it's only going to get worse.
Absolutely. And No Style getting, unfortunately, a lot of shurikens wasted going into the regular amount of wave that wasn't sent. It's 20 gold we'll never see again.
Alright, well, we have No Style minus 400. He's not got bad units though. The Lioness Alpha Male combo pretty solid here. Obviously the Tantrum Hellraiser as well. So we'll have to see how well he performs. No Style, meanwhile, his build is very bad for Wave 12, but his value is very, very high.
Pretty much exactly that. I mean, so we are pumping up those shurikens again. So that's now 40 gold, and then just this massive amount of imps that's going to be taking a little bit of the damage from the Hellraiser, but those imps doing all that beautiful magic damage into those lionesses and alpha males, feeling very spicy, very
Yeah,
good.
they're really doing work there, actually, and it does look like No Style is just being overrun. I thought with his units he might do okay, but no, that is a 130% leak for him. Meanwhile, No Ball's 111, and yet there comes the GG. So a very fast and aggressive one there. Secret Agent closing this one out in a very clinical fashion, I think it's fair to say. Cartel Greed victory for them.
I think your fairness is fair. There's no statement that could be overstated here in such a way that would make it so that, just here and Atrocity here didn't play their absolute best. Like, this was kind of a clinic. The Elite Archer never even had to be turned into a Trinity for Atrocity, feeling just that
Yeah.
good about it.
They played this one pretty clinically, right? Like they even from before the game started, they read that No Style No Balls were very likely to open with Fiesta, so they went the double snail. Obviously, not sure which player would be which. They got a leak there, but that was in No Ball's favour. But then this wave 2, very in favour of Atrocity. Wave 3 is kind of whatever. Then we see these Mega Sends on 5, and they've already lost 44% King HP on wave 5. Like, that's from this point, you're already playing on the back foot. You can't afford to make the big worker pushes that maybe you need to and such like that. So it's very, very difficult position. Then they go wave 7, again, big leaks, down to 30% HP. Wave 9, big leaks. No balls with a miracle hold there, does keep them in the game, but it's not enough. And we see these 600 Mythium send on 12 just to close out the game. I think that's very, very good play there from the Secret Agents. Some would say a masterclass.
Very much showing why they're at the top of the charts right now. Masterclass again. You're not saying anything that's unfair. Can't be understated. It's almost unfair that Trashir and Atrocity have to face pretty much anyone else except for Don Daniel.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is the only team that might stand even a sliver of a chance, right? Is the Dom. So that would certainly be a matchup for the ages, but presumably that will be the grand final.
There's still a chance.
Yeah, has to be, has to be, has to be. Okay, so if I am No Greed Balls feed, right, how am I feeling after a loss like that? Because it certainly felt very one-sided. I mean, Drakira and Atrocity still had 100% King HP, right? So they must be feeling a bit rough after that one. How are they going to come back here in game number two?
I mean, there's two approaches. You start planning for the next game during that game. You don't let it rub you the wrong way,
Hmm.
or you do let it get to you, which is obviously not the thing that you want to do. And this time you just pull your head out of your ass and you do it right this time.
And I mean, that sounds like a solid plan. In which case, let's
Honestly,
see if No Greed
just
Balls
win.
feed can make it happen as we go into game number two. All right. Well, there's no Fiestas this time to be seen.
Nope, no fiestas. We are seeing Kingsguard being chosen willingly, which has very good mid game potential. No Ball's dropping the Crabomancer pretty much immediately after a random lock in.
All right, that's a juicer.
Can be. Hasn't
Nobles
figured
really
it out
likes
yet,
this
but
lock-in.
soon.
I have to say, for Nobles, like he got pretty heavily punished with the random lock-in against It's a Trade-off. He got a very, very bad roll there. But the role he has here in this game is really good. It's very playable, I would say.
Yep. I'm looking at Trash's board and I'm seeing so much Swift and not a lot of carried units to speak of,
Hmm.
which gives me a little bit of concern, especially as there's 4 seconds left.
He's a zoomer, man. He's got the APM that us guys can only dream of.
Yeah, I remember the days. I never lived them, but I remember them.
And Drakir, I think,
Obvious.
really favors this Kingsguard mastermind. By the way, I think it's a very underappreciated mastermind. Like, it's not the sexy mastermind. It's not the cartel where you're going to be the highest workers, highest income throughout the early game. Something like that. It's not the Fiesta where you can make the flashy plays and make the game revolve around you. But it's just a very, very strong, very, very solid mastermind. And the buff that it gives your king just is insane. Like, you're pretty much guaranteed to win every king's race. You're going to take way less king damage on leaks than anyone would expect. And I think it's just a very, very strong mastermind.
I love very much. Oh, cool. And after income snail here for atrocity. I love very much the opportunity that Kingsguard gives you. If players remember tenacity, this is essentially saying, I want to go back to better times.
I think there's people on the Discord that would have your guts when you say that
I think
tenacity was
so.
better times.
Uh, I know that would be. Well, so we enter a lot of really funny eras. So, like right now, there's a lot of people fighting against the Burt era and some of
Hmm.
the changes that have been made just this year. And while we make little steps backwards in reversing those changes, we oftentimes forget what else has happened.
Right. Yeah, that's fair to say. Like people focus on one thing rather than looking at the bigger picture. That's pretty fair. All right, we have income sends all around. The biggest one of which is a fiend going into a atrocities lane, but with the casket and the seraphim on wave 3, I think he's going to be just peachy.
Yeah, it doesn't actually matter, even though the magic damage doesn't do all of that much in the Swift, and the pierce damage from the Fiend is going to be on the. It's just too much damage. Doesn't matter.
Oh, he dies very, very quickly, and the seraphim is just an absolute beast on wave 3. It's like with the casket as well, it's just one-shotting everything in the lane. Meanwhile, the DT's unkillable. Yeah,
However,
this
one
is
more
very
snail
fine
from
though
no balls.
for no style. Like if you're leaking a dragon turtle while you have 8 workers, by the way, I think
Right.
you're perfectly happy with this.
No, definitely a feels good man moment. going to leak that with 70 HP. That little crab there will be able to clean up that DC just fine. So crabs eat turtles, no problem.
Oh, you heard it here first. We do get a full resend coming out though, a atrocity with the brute into no balls. And no balls, he has pushed to 7 workers, so he might be in a little spot of bother here, Seto.
A little spot of bother here means nothing to him, as we have the OPC Serpent. We have more than enough little tiny bullshit to clean up the wave here. Oh shoot, that's a hermit.
That's a post-income hermit from Drakia. This could be very, very deadly because look, yeah, he's just going to leak the entire wave there. Sure, the serpent can kill the hermit, but he basically kills nothing else. Wow, that's a 92% leak. That's a post-income send if I ever saw one. And meanwhile, we have the 94% for Noble. So I was about to say, like, this game hasn't had too much action so far, but clearly I was spoken too soon. These leaks are mega. They're going to lose a ton of King HP as a result.
You know, Jules had the had no balls and no style at 60-something% win rate there for just a moment, and now
he's changed his mind in a pretty big way. He's 71% now in favor of Drakia and Atrocity.
You could say, in a big way, absolutely, yeah. So wave 5, sitting at 64% King HP. That's normal, right?
Yeah, this is a very tough spot now for No Style, No Balls, right? Because already they're playing from the back foot, and the Secret Agent, it seems, they are taking no prisoners here in game number 2. Really, really applying pressure.
So Atrocity with a little bit mad at Drak there for not having the Sea Dragon tank the boss, but it is what it is, because we're going to be able to hold this wave regardless.
Yeah? I mean, the Sea Dragons, they kind of tank without tanking, right? Because they injure themselves to heal the main tank. In a way. In a way.
In a way.
In a way.
It's kind of a beautiful relationship if you think about it.
Yeah. You can position badly and still have your unit split tank. It's perfect. Alright, but we have No Style playing on value now. Of course, they've lost so much King HP, they can't really afford to take those risks anymore. But Drakia and Atrocity, they just never take their foot off the pedal, right? They applied that pressure on 4, big leaks, big damage, and now they're going straight, what, wave 7, wave 8?
Well, No Balls here kind of reading the No Send 6 in a good way here. They put down a cat to 5 stacks, which is normally very brave to do, but they'll be looking at least a little bit safer going into the next couple waves.
Yeah, sure. The problem with the cat, like, obviously the cat is perfect on wave 7, but it's just garbage against a triple brute or an ogre or something, right? And that's the most likely send now from Atrocity.
Absolutely. I mean, if it can't attack, it can't heal, so it kind of loses out on its big shtick there, so...
Exactly, and Atrocity has perfect Mythium for Triple Brute, and there it is. I think they are going to be in some trouble here, Seto. So yeah, No Style, No Balls, they just go for the income sends, they're desperate to try and hold. We even have a Boom Tree here coming out from No Style, just hoping to deal some damage to the wave, but I don't know, man. I'm feeling pretty worried for No Greed Balls feed.
It's very concerning, especially because the Safety Mole just gained a whole lot of value as... No Style just put down the Boom Tree and then extra seedlings to do even less damage on this wave.
I mean, the seedling does literally 0 damage when there's a mole, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
2 damage that it does, and the, what is it, 4 damage that the Safety Mole reduces?
Yeah.
Or 6?
Wow. Okay. I mean, he should be in quite a bit of trouble here, but No Balls as well with the Triple Brute and Robo Send. He shouldn't be doing much better either. These are going to be some mega leaks once again, it seems. Coiler, of course, very, very good on 7, but it's not going to be enough for him. Meanwhile, No Balls, that's 110% leak, and No Style, 58%. 18 creeps reaching the king, including Triple Brute. My friend, Seto, are they just dying on 7? It's going to be close.
It's going to be close. I don't... Yeah, I'm kidding. It might be darn near game at this point. And have we seen Jules' score drop down below 2 digits before? Because I think we're about to again.
Yeah. 13%, okay. But they're on 27% King HP now. So I think Drakia and Atrocity, they smell blood. And when would you send against these guys? I think I'd be looking at wave 10 myself.
Absolutely, Wave 10. Currently, there are no answers for no style or no balls. They have, I guess, they have the coiler, the serpent, but I mean, even that can be mitigated with delay.
Mhm. Yeah, this looks like it might be very fast. Oh, a post-income mole there from Drakir. All
That was
right.
mean.
I
That was
mean,
really mean.
well, No Style didn't build. He added nothing here.
Yeah. That no, I know that. Like this is so
Wow,
unfortunate
he's killing
because
like
now it's
nothing.
3 hits. Yeah.
Ooh, okay, 67%. Drakir with the
Like that.
post-income mercenaries this round is taking absolutely no mercy on No Style.
So we do this really cool thing in the LTD community. Whenever we stream and have Nova Cup, we often give the viewers a chance to earn rewards based on watch time. Well, I think that Atrocity and Drakir don't care about that.
Yeah, they seem to be making the cup as quick as it can be. Maybe they've got somewhere to be, you know?
It's very possible it is getting late on the other side of the world, and I still have the sun out. You guys, probably not for much longer.
Well, Atrocity's
So
upside down as well, remember? He's in Australia, so it's probably something like 3 a.m. for him. He's probably looking forward to getting to bed after this game. Maybe that's why he's in such a hurry. We do see full sends coming out now from No Greed Ball's feed, but with all of the gold just earned there on Wave 8, I mean, Drakir, he should be easily holding. He gets a full Harbinger here. He's got Sea Dragon to keep his Scallywag alive. I think he's not in any trouble. Atrocity, meanwhile, I had to breathe there for a second. He's got
I
the double Treant with buffs. I think he should do very well as well.
yeah, the Halo is just a good unit on 9, like deceptively good despite all of the units. It just has, decent damage typing. I think it's true damage and the fortified armor. So, it can take a couple hits, it can deal a couple hits.
Mhm.
And then it turns into 10 and it feels pretty good on 10 too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Drakir very easily holding with the gold he got on 8. Atrocity leaking, but not too badly. It is a shutdown, but I don't think that's going to be enough to bring No Style and No Balls back into the game. Meanwhile, look at these Mythium counts, man. 240 from Drakir, 400 Mythium on 10 from Atrocity. I mean,
He's cracking on
you
10. Darn it.
no style there from Atrocity.
If we had gotten the Kraken on 10, I'm not going to lie, I would have been giddy.
Now, I think it would have been a bad send looking at No Balls lane, but you are right, there would have definitely been some
Horrible.
style points.
Okay, so let's take a look really quickly. No Balls has double-digit workers, but it's about half of what Atrocity has.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy.
It turns out starving can be effective.
Yeah. These are some mega sends. 300 for No Style, 460 Mythium on 10 for No Balls. And yeah, this is a rough one. He does have a Sovereign though, so I guess that's what the Four Eyes is for. I mean, he's going to kill
Yeah.
the boss at least, right? Right? Is the Four Eyes just ramping too much? He's not going
Yeah.
to kill the boss. Oh no, what a disaster. 112% leak. Meanwhile, No Style, he's doing phenomenally well with all of those. He had double Coiler, double Serpent, leaking only a low HP Ghost Knight, but Seto, they have 27% King HP. There is a low HP boss. There is a Four Eyes as well. Are they going to be able to survive this? It's close. It's close. The Four Eyes dies, but so do they. That's a Wave 10 victory. Well played, Secret Agents. Very well played.
And just think about it like this. No Style was Cartel, so they never actually had to get debuffed. It's kind of a win if you look at it that way.
True, true. You can never take the downside of Cartel if you just lose before Wave 11. I mean, man.
Typically, I say the game ends before Wave, because this way, who knows what happened.
Yeah, right? This game was so, like, distressing for No Style, No Balls. We got... I mean, there's even income sends on 3, right? So they're probably not expecting 80 full sends on Wave 4, and clearly caught them off guard. Mega King damage already into Wave 7 with the 220 sends. Not much they can do about that. Big leaks, big damage. Drakir even resending that spicy post-income mole on 8, catching No Style off guard. into
That's
these mega sends on 10, 300, 460. There's just nothing they can do about it. No
it
style,
was
no
just rude
balls. They just got schooled.
all game long. Druck was very rude to their opponents. All these after income sends, all these after income like money losing mercenary sends
Mhm.
ended up being the key to victory. Very rude.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm disappointed.
Now let's see, because we might still have the losers match of this group going on. So I can see Fake One is in game. They are 1-0 in the lead against Don Daniel and Bada Bleach Sipin. So we can spectate the Fake One. Oh, wait, no, I see him not in game anymore. Let's see if we've got a
True.
result on that one. Ah, that was a 2-0 as well. Okay, so a couple of surprises there. We do have Fake One and Pakistan RQS making their way back to the last chance match. They were victorious against Don Daniel and Bleach Sipin, so they will have one more shot at making it through to the semi-finals. But to earn it, Zeto, they have to win a rematch against No Style, No Balls. So the last series of the day will be a rerun of the first series of the day, which is pretty exciting. But Seto, I mean, I know that those games have been very quick. I think we still deserve to give the players and ourselves a 10-minute break. So I will say to you, Twitch chat, adieu, but don't go anywhere, because we will be right back in about 10 minutes' time with the final series of the day, which will be the last chance match. So, guys, we'll see you there. Goodbye.
Well, hello there.
Welcome back, Twitch chat. I hope you didn't miss our smiling faces too much in that short break. The games have been very, very quick today, Seto. Like that series just now with Drakir against No Greed Balls Feed. I barely sat down. It feels like those were some very quick, very one-sided games. It feels like a masterclass, certainly from Drakir and Atrocity given here in the winners match. I feel. Definitely earning their place in the semi-final tomorrow. So I'm very, very impressed with the way those guys played. And we did talk a little bit before the series about how we were wondering whether their individual talent would be enough to compensate for the fact they haven't played together before. And clearly the answer to that is yes, because these were some of the most dominant performances I've seen in a long time.
Those were statement games to be sure.
Hmm.
And for a game to end on 12 and then 10, yeah, that's kind of a whooping.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I think both games they had 100% King HP as well. So, like, it wasn't close. It was an absolute stomping there from the secret agents. So, yeah, I mean, no Greed Balls Feed. They probably feeling a bit worse for wear after that one. And we do talk a lot in these series about momentum being a thing. And look, no Greed Balls Feed. They won 2-1 against the trade-off team in the first series. Now we have a rematch here in the last chance match, right? So, judging on the previous performance, No Greed Balls Feed should be making it through to the semi-finals. However, Seto, let me ask you this, right? Because we've just seen No Greed Balls Feed on the receiving end of an absolute stomping from Drakir and Atrocity. Meanwhile, the trade-off, Fake One and Pakistan, they've been delivering a stomping of their own against Don Daniel and Bleach Sipin. So, if we're talking about momentum, Fake One and Pakistan, they're riding high, where No Greed Balls Feed, they're probably licking their wounds a little bit. So, we talk about the mental side of things, maybe that favours the side of trade-off, right?
So it could, right? But again, we have the mirror match. They can come into this saying, I've already won this match once. I can do it again.
Yeah.
So even though, all right, fine, we put that again, put it behind us. Don't dwell on it. And we just come in here, heads held high. We don't execute the same game plan, but we execute one that's going to get us the victory.
Mhm.
And don't pick Cartel Fiesta.
And don't pick Cartel Fiesta, yeah, because I don't think we've seen it win at all so far today. We have got a lobby available, though, so we should be able to get this match underway pretty quickly. And yeah, it feels like we're absolutely speed running through day one so far. The games have been pretty quick. I mean, especially that second series, right? Those were possibly the fastest series we've ever had in a Nova Cup.
It would be pretty impressive if, even in the history of doing this, there was a faster series for sure. The only upside we've had so far is the Fake One and No Style, both giving us a 3-game series. So at least we had to sit through 3 quicker games, but definitely no 10, 12 games.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, speaking about fast games, right? I was checking the Fake Ones match history to see what happened against Don Daniel and Bleach Sipin. Their first game they won on wave 7. So, like, Drakir and Atrocity were slouching, it seems, because they made it go all the way to wave 10.
Talk about momentum. Then I mean, we're ready to steamroll. They like Fake One and Pakistan were just getting warmed up earlier. Then it
Hmm.
seems.
Yeah. And now they're warm, right? So no style and no balls, they're in trouble, surely.
Oh, absolutely, because they are absolutely feeling the cold chill of defeat from the series they just were in.
Hmm. All right, guys, we should be able to get this game number 1 on the way very, very quickly. Remember, this is the last chance match, so only one of these two teams can make it through to tomorrow's semi-final. The other team will be going home with nothing. So which will make it through? Will it be It's a Trade-Off, Fake One and Pakistan, or will it be No Greed, Balls Feed, that is No Style and No Balls? We're about to find out as we go into game number 1. A little bit preemptive on the scene switch there. We get to see the loading screen, which we often miss on Nova Cup, but there it is. It's a nice one. And here it is, game number 1. Seto, what do you think about these Legion spells?
I haven't seen very much Vamp this year. I don't know if I'm just unlucky or not, or when I do see it, I don't ever have the role for it. Often I find that my auras and my circles just don't benefit from it. But counterattack and AOA, both very, very aggressive spells.
Mhm.
So those could be game deciding. If we're even swinging one way or the other, just a little bit, those could definitely tip the scales.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like very, very aggressive Wave 11 spells, right? So expect to see that in the rolls from these players. You need to be picking units which are strong on Wave 11 and 12 to counter those two big aggressive pushes. Things like that Lord of Death, for example, on Pakistan's roll, very good, as is the Alpha Male as your tank value. No style, kind of like him, but he has got. Oh, he didn't pick up the Nightmare. Okay, I thought he might go for Nightmare and like give it Vampire on 11, something like this, but no. And again, we have this Snail coming out here from Pakistan. No Balls, who is not playing Fiesta, should just be rewarded, I think.
Correct. However, if no style receives a snail, it might be a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, but he gets Snailent, I think. Or a fake one. I mean, he still has his Mythium. Oh, he does get snailed. Okay.
I mean, I guess Fake One has Steed and Angler. I'm not crazy keen on it right now, but it can be funny sometimes in some games.
Yeah. He's also gone for the Bounty Hunter on one, which we very rarely see these days. Like, the double stacks on the Angler is just so much value, but I can see why. Although I would have been very tempted myself to go for like a Shroom and Angler Opener instead.
But again, he will eventually be able to semi-supercharge it with that Steed in the background there,
Hmm.
or even off tanking. He's got really, really good tier 2s in the Bazooka and the Doggo as well. So,
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
very true, very true. Now, does
double
this
leakers.
does this leak as well? Does the
It
Crab
does.
Warlock leak?
Yeah, it should be. I think 25% should be 3 of the snail crabs.
Okay. Two crabs, okay, 17%. But yeah, I mean, this is six crabs reaching the king, so first blood is drawn by the side of it's a trade-off.
It's a trade-off getting the very early lead here. Again, Jules counter going a little bit wonky here. Maybe he stopped favoring the King HP as much as he used to.
Hmm.
I actually don't mind an even split in this case here for Fake One because he can easily put something right next to the bounty for 5.
Yeah, true, true. Now, this is something we don't see very often, the double gate guard on wave 2 coming out from No Star.
It has been a minute since I've seen one gate guard per wave popularized.
And Fake One is
Kind of
question
a couple
marking
years
it
ago.
as well, so yeah, he's just as confused as I am, it seems. Perfect split tanking as well. I mean, look, he's 200 value, who is never leaking here. The 200 send against Noble, sorry, 40 send against Noble, who's also on 200 value. He's leaking pretty decently here, no?
Honestly, yeah, this is going to be a decent little chunk here. And No Balls has okay, they're fine on 3,
Oh,
so
he's
it's not
doing
that
just
big of a deal.
fine. Okay, that was deceptive. I thought he was going to do quite poorly, but no, he's chilling.
Yep.
If he
Looking
was
much
Fiesta,
better.
like he'd be having an absolute blast so far, but no Fiestas in sight. Here's a full
Get
send
these
though. No Star with the Robo resend on 3. Let's see how Pakistan decides to answer that one.
With a robo of his own.
Okay. Bit of spice. And it looks like Pakistan's best answer is a triple Peewee, which may well
Okay.
just be enough, honestly. Like, he just needs to give his gate guard time to get out those summons, and he should do just fine. Like, he's probably going to leak a bit here, but I don't think it's going to be terrible.
So unfortunately for Paki, the Wildshroom going to exist on 3 here.
Oh, and the Robo going straight for it as well, instead of, like, one-shotting this Buckler.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he's doing very well. He's even got his crab tanking a little bit of the action here, so he's going to do just fine, I think. Let's go back
However-
here to Pakistan. I mean, his gate guard has got off 2 or 3 summons, does leak 47%. Fake One is holding, he only got 2 snails. He's going to be able to cover as well, I think. Maybe
3
the Robo
stacks,
makes it through.
honestly.
He's so low mana though. This is the problem with going Bounty Hunter opener, right? Because you just miss out on so much of that scaling potential.
Oh, there's a crab on the loose.
Okay.
He's returned home.
Alright, so some return king damage going in favour of No Greed Balls Feed. Now the two teams pretty much evenly matched. And the first steed comes down here on wave 4 for the fake one.
Honestly, very good timing. He's got the doggo army already out for it, so it'll live for a very long time. The Kingpin, not great tankage here, but very fine damage and enough HP that it should be just fine, especially being only 15 value under.
This is interesting. The plus 45 value Butcher on his Crab Warlock. I think, by the way, Lifesteal is very bad on this unit because it's not a damage dealing unit. The crabs that it summons are only tanks, so it's like giving your Mudman lifesteal, basically.
I can't argue that. I would love to be the devil's advocate here, but like if I were to argue it, I'd sound dumber than I normally do, so I'm not even gonna bother. We are seeing a real send at Apaki, despite the fact that his opponent is plus 45 on the last wave and now plus
Oh.
110.
Okay, I mean, he valuing. Oh lordy,
Yeah,
he
sure.
valuing.
He's outplaying his opponents with value.
Yeah. I think his teammate might have bullied him into pressing the worker button because instead of being plus 110, he's now plus 20. And, well, maybe that makes Pakistan send work here. He's going to send a Brute with the Robo. He is. Okay, and now No Balls is probably going to be flaming his teammate, saying, why did you make me underbuild?
You don't ever win. You don't win. You don't win over building because when you leak, it feels bad and you don't have the workers. I don't know. What is the answer?
Yeah.
We are definitely leaking. That is the answer.
I mean, he's actually getting kind of overrun, right? So maybe plus 110 was the right play there for No Balls. He's leak. Oh, he might kill one more. No,
Nope.
he doesn't. It's a 61% leak. I think No Balls definitely wishing he had stayed with that plus 110 line.
Perhaps exactly that. And now they really can't push that much for next wave anyway because their answers are still kind of lacking. Like the Canopy lifesteal feels very, very good, but we're not there yet. We're still sitting on the while.
Yeah. And by the way, I was flaming Fake One for having no stacks on his Bounty Hunter. It's now on 100 mana on wave 5 because of the
don't
way
know.
he's been playing with these steeds and with catching his teammates' leaks.
Absolutely. And that's it, is those steeds are supercharging. So you get the 0.6 per kill, but what's better than 0.6? How about 0.9?
Yeah. 0.9 per cast. And then they continue casting in mid when he catches his teammates' leaks as well. So he really is getting a ton of mana there on that Bounty Hunter. What?
Yep. How
okay.
about we overbuild now for our... Well, you know.
I mean, it's going to work, yeah. 100 mana Kingpin on
Yeah.
wave 6, pretty juicy. He can just start charging up another one on wave 7, right, if he wants to.
If he wants to. It always feels bad because that could be a worker, but at the same time, what do you have better to do right now?
I mean, he's just Giga rewarded, right? So I didn't see that line where he would sell 2 Howlers for the Kingpin, but he's receiving a 140 Mythium Send, and he's going to full hold it. So very, very good presence of mind there from Fake One. He knew what he had to do, lost a little bit of eco there with the Walk Cell, but it's Giga paying off for him here with the full hold on wave 6.
Absolutely, and no steeds are alive, and there's no angler to feed, so Pakistan has decided that he's going to hold this wave instead of leaking just a little bit.
And there is the backup angler, so he can start supercharging his mana once again.
On a very good wave to do so. The wave 7 is so good for angler.
Yeah. And look at this, by the way. We see No Balls right down at the bottom of the power score. Clearly, like, overbuilding on wave 5 was the way to go for him.
It absolutely was. He does have some nice, juicy, life-stealing canopies. However, the problem is we now have brutes coming his way.
That's a 200 Mythium Send on the 7th wave. Yeah, that's a lot to deal with. This split is crumbling, it's going, gone, and now he has 3 brutes sat on a canopy. So, I mean, sure, canopy with lifesteal in particular, fantastic unit for wave 7, but when you've got 3 brutes slowing it down, it's way, way weaker, and there it goes, it is dead. This is going to be a pretty bad leak now for No Balls. Does he kill one more? Not quite. That's 100% leak, in fact, for No Balls, while he's being on value, by the way. 825 value for 7.
Yep, and we do see a couple extra stacks going on to the angler for Fake One, so appreciating the little bit of bait on the hook there.
Hmm.
And I mean, the Harpies will clean up, but really, really unfortunately, No Balls is going to be yet again barely sitting at double digits on
Yeah.
the wave when everyone else is starting to eclipse him.
He's having a little bit of a nightmare. And the other thing is that No Style is on Cartel, right? So although he's currently in the lead in terms of workers and income, he does have that impending doom of the Cartel income penalty on Wave 11.
Yeah, Pakistan also in cartel. However, they've been benefiting from leak gold, thanks Bert,
Hmm.
and those snowballing type effects like they do. They start small, but the people who are really good at this game take 1 or 2 gold and they turn into 100 gold by 10.
Yep. Oh, now this little angler that could is already on full mana. Maybe would have liked to see him make the bounty hunter this wave, honestly, because he was always going to get the hypercharged. We do see possibly a leak here out of Pakistan against an income send. Looks like yes, not a bad one. He's going to kill one more, I think. Oh, he does. Oh, he does. He does. Okay, so that's a 50% leak for him. But the Kingpin actually going down for Fake One as well. So, wait, is he leaking? He's
He
leaking
will
with
do a
nearly
little bit of a leak.
1,000 value on 8 against snails.
I mean, for what it's worth, he was undervalue. The good news is because those steeds were they already charged the angler, so they were able to get that tank and damage value out of their passive for when they're not charging mana.
That's pretty good. They're also getting some Kingsguard value, right? Like Fake One picked Kingsguard, so they just wanted to use it.
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't use it, you kind of just lose it, right?
That is how it works, yeah, pretty sure. Alright, now we have Fake One sitting on plus 50. He is getting a full resend here. Looks like it's going to be 2 brutes from No Balls, while No Style is going for the income send into Pakistan, who should be very, very fine there with this Harbinger. And yeah, I do expect to see another hold from Fake One with that plus 50 value. And it's time for his Bounty Hunter to get turbocharged with mana.
Absolutely. This is going to be probably 100 by the end of this wave here because it will likely go down to the brutes and a little bit of that extra value that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
However, interestingly, No Style, because of these income and king sends that they've been doing, is sitting on that 246 income right now, whereas Pakistan is not able to also mimic that because they want to get a leak going into the next phase of the game.
Yeah, oh, here comes the big sends. We've got the Ogre coming out, and this is going to be a hold from Fake One, but a very slow hold, which is fantastic when you're trying to send into your opponent. So, yeah, we have that Ogre Mole coming out from Fake One, and Pakistan has 300 Mythium. Spends it all on Dragon Turtles, okay.
Sure, reasonable.
Do you know what? I can see it, right? It's pretty good at distracting the Arc of Justice, and No Balls is on value, so why send Power Mercenaries when Income Mercenaries will do?
What's really interesting here is we have kind of boss versus boss. We have the Arc of Justice versus the Granddaddy,
Mm-hmm.
and they're both sending trash into each other. The little crabs are going into the Granddaddy, just praying, "Hey, please stay away from my Arc." Whereas, it's quite the opposite story with the DTs.
Look at this, though. No Style, I think, is going to be completely fine with that double Berserker, even sniping the safety mole, so that thing dies extremely quickly. He's now on the boss. Let's just check in with his teammate. In fact, ignoring a lot of these tanks, so the Arc of Justice getting onto the boss very, very quickly. That's an easy hold there. For No Balls, back onto No Style. It looks like he's going to leak, but only the Ogre and the Hermit, so he's done phenomenally well. Of course, both players are on extreme... Wait, no, he's killing the Ogre. Wow, that's very clutch.
Yep, that would be the mistake that Fake One in Pakistan needed to probably avoid in this game.
Yeah.
That gives No Balls such an opportunity here to get back onto worker pace.
Yeah, he's still very behind, right, on No Balls, but No Style's having a very solid game. And look, we were talking about the cartel penalty, and it has kicked in, but even with that, he's still by far the highest income in the game. Now, sure, Fake One and Pakistan, they have a bunch of Mythium stored up, so their potential income is much higher, but for now, at least, No Style's in a very strong spot.
Very strong spot. However, their mate is kind of the ball and chain here in this relationship.
Mm-hmm. Or the no ball
so
and chain, you could say.
That was what I was going for, and I just missed it.
Well, you set me up nicely. But hey, look, we've
There you
got a
go.
full resend. There is 8 Robos wandering into Pakistan's lane, and his value is not looking incredible, honestly. That Boom Tree is going to do some pretty good damage when it goes off, I think. Yeah, there it
It
goes.
did.
Only hitting half of the wave, though.
Yeah, Disciple's a little bit behind where she needs to be.
Yeah. Alright, I mean, he's leaking half the wave plus some Robos. But meanwhile, Fake One does look like this should be a hold for him. He's even going to be able to clean up a little bit in the mid. And of course, crucially, they were saving their Mythium. So now we see this enormous counterattack coming out. The pack triple imp from both Fake One and Pakistan. And no style, no balls. How are these guys going to deal with such a big send on wave 12?
I mean, I think that's kind of the issue here. No balls to counterattack instead of the AoE, and because of that, they weren't able to leak their guy at all. And they're going to pay for it here, so hopefully they get a chance to use this counterattack, because they are
Yeah.
not sitting on the best or most effective value for 12.
Well, on the flip side, they're definitely going to get counterattack here, because there's no way in hell that
Yeah.
No Balls is holding this send, I don't think. No Style, on the other hand, I mean, he's on 2.4k value on Wave 12, which is maybe the highest Wave 12 value I've ever seen, so kind of impressive.
It is, but his value is mostly dog shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. A lot of his units are very bad on this wave. Sky Queen pretty good, Stim the Veteran pretty good, but yeah, clearly the majority of his build not perfect here. And one of the Harbingers going down before getting the second summon, so no value from that unit. Second one does at least get the summon, and he is killing the pack leader, but still, this looks like a pretty juicy leak. And meanwhile, No Balls, that's 157% from him, 104 from No Style, Pakistan leaking as well, but that's whatever. And they are going to take a bunch of king damage here on wave 12 Seto. Look at this, 28 units reaching the king.
It is so fortunate that they have the king ups that they have, but is it going to be enough?
It looks like yes, but barely. 8%
Barely.
king HP remaining there for No Greed Ball Speed, and Jules is loving that, giving It's a Trade-Off 76% win chance from here on out.
Well, the good news here is that they now can benefit from the regen that they just put into the king. No Style here with the 31 workers, significantly ahead of their teammate there in workers, going to use that extra mythium that they're generating to give themselves a second shot.
Yeah. And No Style is still in a very strong position, don't get me wrong. So No Balls is pretty dead in the game, which means they still have an out, right? Like, No Style's in a really good spot. He's even egging here, so if they don't go for a wave 14 send, he's going to get all of that bonus value as well. And look, No Balls at some point can just Sui push to try and break Fake One, right? So they have an angle. I'm not saying it's easy, it's definitely not easy to execute, but they at least have a shot.
And that's it. Is the window that's open is only open a crack, but you can definitely still slip in there.
Yep. Alright, now we have some Pegasus coming up here, your old rival for Fake One. He's turbocharging a third Kingpin now, it looks like.
Yep. On top of that, you don't have to delay for gate when you just get the gate to instantly spawn all of its units. Typically one of its weaknesses, not a weakness here.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. The one thing that Fake One is missing is like any kind of aura, right? Like how good would a white main be right here, or an Ocean Templar, something like that?
Absolutely. You'd still get that extra spawn, but those kingpins would benefit so much from that extra HP as it's scaling regen. So the more HP that they have, the more HP they get back.
Now, something I do want to point out here is Pakistan shifted 500 gold going into this wave to show that he's undervalued, so probably trying to bait out a 15 send, and it does work. So No Style, No Balls are going for a wave 15 send, Fake One and Pakistan saving their Mythium, stockpiling their bricks, and now of course they have to full build against the wave because you've successfully baited your opponents, but you still need to be able to hold their send, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely correct here. So it's great if you do the bait, but if you don't hold that bait and you end up costing yourself and the fake one sitting on 100 gold shutdown, so king damage here is very, very valuable. Every HP or every percent of HP is a lot of gold at this point. don't leak here, or else you've gone and made that second mistake you shouldn't have made this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fake One is leaking here. Like, he's on value, but his units are really weak here. I mean, sure, Pegasus is good, but it's not going to be enough.
Not on Kraken.
Not on Kraken.
Not good on Kraken.
Not on Kraken. Pakistan, though, he's plus 55, so the bait did work very well for him. He was presenting to be undervalued, but in fact he was over with Starcaller Circle, with a bunch of Green Devils, and yeah, easy hold there for Pakistan. So a perfectly executed bait and hold. Puts him in a really strong position. Sure, Fake One leaks 85% there. The 100 gold shot down is problematic, but just look at their Mythium counts setter. We have nearly 1100 there for Fake One, 800 plus for Pakistan, and they don't even have to send here on 16 if they want. I think they might just go straight 17.
It would make the most sense, in my opinion, to go to straight to 17 because
And they
Fake One
do.
has infinite 4 tanks,
Yeah.
and they may just build pyros here. Yeah, they're going to build pyros here just in case.
Just in case, Pocket, just in case. So, yep, he is going to be able to hold any resend. It's only income coming out, so nothing dangerous, to be fair. And meanwhile, Pakistan is just sitting on value. Like, why have good units when you can be plus 300 value? But regardless, I think when this next send comes, presumably on 17, it's going to be Dunzo. But having said that, No Style, No Balls, they're both also overvalue. This game is just weird, man.
We are a little all over the place. We keep coming back to the philosophy of I'm going to outplay them with value. All game long, we've had the potential for, less workers, more value, and it's working out for the Fake One because his value is an investment in those kingpins, and on the right waves, those kingpins can be very valuable.
Yep.
Eventually, we will just full charge Hellgates, so
Yeah,
works
for
out.
sure.
Seems good.
For sure, for sure. And here comes these Mega Sens, right? So, I mean, look, No Style is still on value. No Balls is probably going to be grey value, or close to it. But the Sens are enormous. So we have double Mole, so the backup Mole, of course, with Ram, with 8 Imps, with a pack leader as well, and we have a billion Ogres coming out from Pakistan. So, if we're on the side of No Style, No Balls, do we have any chances of holding here?
Lifesteal Crab, 117.
I guess they just need to believe in the heart of the cards. We're about to find out. They're both on grey value. Can they hold? These sends are enormous, though. 1,820 Mythium here for No Style. 1,400 for No Balls as well. I mean, grey value is grey value, but these send numbers are just incredible. The Ogre's wailing away on the crabs here, so No Balls is getting his backline sniped, but it looks like he's doing work regardless. He is going to leak. Meanwhile, looking back to No Style, he is leaking decently there. 164% for him, and yeah, 94% for No Balls. The GGs come out, and it looks like it's a trade-off, winning the first game of the last chance match. Very nice.
That was a really well played game.
It was pretty wild.
Well, so in the fact that it was so not standard, right? It was wow. The Fake One starting with that bounty, you weren't happy about it. Are you happy about it now?
I mean, the way he played it was very good, right? So I still don't really like the bounty start, but it did let him play the game a bit more smoothly, and it certainly didn't seem to harm his angler stacks, right? Because he still had 100 mana Kingpin there for wave 6. So, look, maybe I just shouldn't question the players at this level. They know what they're about, and he played it very, very well. And it did enable him to like be 6 workers on 4 and stuff like that, so you're not having to upgrade the angler into a bounty hunter on wave 4 and stuff like that. Let's put you in a bit of a weird spot. So, look, he did just fine.
He absolutely did just fine. There was one mistake. I don't remember what it was at this point. I think it was the 10 send. I don't think anyone was crazy about the 10 send. But at the end of the day, he played it. Fake One and Pakistan both played it well enough to pull out the dub there.
I
Took him
mean,
a little
he
while.
can't know that No Style has Berserker in his role, right? So I think if there's 400 Mythium being sent on 10, and No Style has almost anything else other than Berserker, he's just leaking massively, right? But yeah, he had the perfect unit, and he pulled off a miracle hold there, leaking just a Hermit against a 400 send on 10. But even that said, it wasn't enough. These mega leaks on 12, almost outright winning the game there, into full Crinjo, 1800 sends on 17. Yeah, that was pretty surgical from It's a Trade-off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
All
would
right.
like to see them do that again, but maybe in game 3.
Okay, so you're calling for a no style, no balls win this time in game number 2, right? So that we can have the fan favorite game number 3.
Absolutely. I mean, when it comes to uh, comebacks, uh, you want to root for the underdog, but in this case, I think that we don't necessarily have to do that as they've already taken a series,
Hmm.
but we should get some excitement out of the day.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, especially after how quick that second round was, right? With Drakir and Atrocity just kind of wiping the floor, honestly, with their opponents. So I'd like to see a close series to end the cast, and I'd like to see game number 3 definitely. So with that said, no greed balls feed. They definitely need to shape up a little bit here in game number 2, and it might just be that momentum thing that we talked about before the game, right? They're coming off the back of a very difficult loss against Drakir and Atrocity, and that has to weigh on your mind. Like, you can't necessarily play at your best when you have had such a tough game, right? But let's see, can they shake off the curse? Are they going to be able to bring their A game here as we go into game number 2? Remember, no greed balls feed. They need to win here to stay in the tournament. So let's see, can they pull it off?
So I see a sorcerer, I see a protector, and I see an AoA. I love all 3 of these spells, and they all have a place. You have your aggro, you have your uh, defensive protector, but you also have your defensive Sork. But Sork is so situational. I have picked Sork with no Sorkable units before.
Oh, really?
I was new.
Oh, speaking of situational, by the way, Fake One with the Trinity Archer Tempest in his opening role and on redraw as well. So he not only has the perfect unit for it. Wait, he instantly
He
rerolled? What?
rerolled Levy.
I,
What was
I
his tier 1 before?
That's crazy, man. Like I thought he would just play it out at
Roll with it.
least until he
Yeah.
has 1 or 2 Tempests down and then start rerolling.
Oh man, I feel a little lost. But you know what? Here's the bright side. It's a redraw. We'll get it back. We'll get it back. We're not even worried about it. I'm not
Sure,
worried about it.
we'll get it back. Yeah. Now, if the Discord has taught me anything, it's that the way to play redraw is to just redraw constantly until you have like Lioness, Ocean Templar, Chieftain, and Deep Coiler, right? And then it's just completely unbeatable. Is that right?
So I'm not gonna lie. Um, it is incredibly cheap to reroll. So yeah, why not? Go for it.
Go nuts. Fill your boots.
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't, do you even have style?
I mean, no style.
Speaking of style, how about an egg? I love egg.
Yeah, it is very strong. It's a I feel like it's actually a massively underrated opener. We don't see it very often anymore, but the power spike you get from that fully buffed Hydra is crazy for the early game.
Even a leaked egg is still really good. So Fake One does have a little bit more expensive of an opening roll, and they will have to defend themselves a little bit, just a little bit more on 3, like not crazy more, but they're not going to be able to get like, a root on 3. And Robo is very effective anyway.
Yeah, and it is just going to be Snail, so Fake One not even trying to break it. And actually, No Style decides to pay the 20 gold just to secure it, right? So Look, I've fallen into this trap myself. I don't think he was under any particular pressure, but he just doesn't want to even slightly risk losing his egg here. He's playing turbo safe, 2 workers, veteran and stim. Maybe a bit too safe, but look, he's going to get that egg power spike, no matter what. Fake one,
Absolutely.
turbo pinging the veteran. He's very happy to see that. He can clearly see that his opponent's on 2 workers and has spent 20 gold to hold against this Snail King up. So, yeah, definitely in favour there of it's a trade-off.
Yep. Not predictable in a way. They wanted to, just ensure it. Now what they need to do is make sure that it's worthwhile.
Hmm.
Because if we don't find value out of this egg, it's also going to look a little bit bad for them this game. 555 value on 4, though, is very, very funny and very silly and pretty much only doable in this manner.
Yeah, he's plus 205 value here. His teammate at least is trying to even things out with a minus 105 there on no balls. Very well rewarded with the Snail King up for resend here. We do have a full send into Fake One, but he's playing on grey value as well, so he's going to be absolutely fine. Alright, so nothing particularly exciting so far for the first 4 waves. I guess the story of the early game so far is No Style sneaking out that egg and at least being forced to waste 20 gold.
Yep. We do have 2 fire elemental openers. I don't know if we mentioned that. Being played very differently.
Yeah.
We have the antler already on 5, which is, very impressive. That makes up for the 110 missing value from last wave.
True. Yeah, he's now plus 50. Alright. And of course, No Style hasn't had to build since wave 3. That's kind of the power. He probably won't have to build against it till wave 7, actually, when he can just add a Nightmare to be pretty strong there.
Yep, the veteran, very good for that. Wave 6 could be a little bit sus. They also only received the snail on this wave. So if Fake One were to feel some kind of spicy, could try to pull out maybe double Robos for next.
Mm-hmm. No, just income sends.
Yep.
Just income sends.
Okay.
Nobody trying anything too spicy yet. Although it's a trade-off. They are starting to pile on the pressure somewhat, it seems. They're both around the 80 Mythium mark. They do not send anything here on wave 6. And yeah, starting to put on the pressure. I wonder if they're just going to go wave 8. Like, they'll see this plus 80 here. They'll see this gate guard. And of course, these 2 units, very, very weak on wave 8.
Yeah, it turns out Natural's not very good into magic. Learned that one relatively recently.
Mm-hmm. It's a valuable lesson. Look, all of us have to learn these things at some point.
So Fake One did full boost his, not orchids, the infiltrators here, and meaningfully as, his maid is going to leak a little bit, and Trinity Archer not exactly the strongest on wave 6.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives him more time to income send. I'm a little unhappy about that.
Yeah. They were applying a bunch of pressure, but maybe they feel they just don't need to play that way this game, right? Because they know they're ahead economically, because No Style was 2 workers for the first 3 waves and wasted the 20 gold on Stim. So they can just continue to grow their eco lead. They've got way more income. They've got way more workers. Sure, they're down in value, but they're in a pretty good spot.
Absolutely. The Harbinger going to be decently strong here as long as the egg gets to survive as long as it needs to. Like, this veteran will delay for, long enough.
Mm-hmm.
But just now getting the crack out. So yeah, I mean, the mini Hydra is going to do just fine here.
Yeah,
Everyone else is looking already naturally strong. This was the only mystery wave for No Style.
Mm-hmm. But look, so No Style, he even made the Harbinger here on wave 7. So just imagine if Fake One had decided to skip here on wave 7, maybe go for like a Ghost Knight on 8. That could have been very, very deadly.
Oh no.
Another
I mean, it
boost?
could have been very deadly, but we're still going to blow another 20 gold on another uh, stimmed veteran.
Another stim into the income send, yeah. A little bit depressing there, but yeah. I can see it.
Hmm.
He doesn't want to leak, and these two units are very, very bad here.
No Balls is very undervalued, but they have a ton of Aquas, which are known to be very bad after this wave.
Oh yeah, actually he's in trouble on 9 and 10, right? Like this
Oh,
is
big
just
time.
this is a lot of dead value on 9, and it's even worse on 10.
Yep. I mean, the good news is he'll be able to clean up whatever sends come his way on 10, maybe.
Mm-hmm. And the stim is able to hold against the fiend, so that's very impressive there. Income sends coming out from No Style No Balls, and actually income sends from Pakistan and Fake One as well. So Pakistan, I guess, with a bit of a failed read here, he looked at No Balls' value on 8 and thought, oh, he must have shifted. Well, actually, he just pushed.
Pushing is good. We do get the bunk out for 9. That's a pretty good answer when your other damage is Aquas.
Yeah, yeah. But imagine if this Drake was a mole, right? He just has absolutely 0 damage.
Absolutely.
So against the Drake King up, he's going to be fine. But if this was Mole Snail, I think he'd be leaking massively, honestly.
Maybe we're just taking this one a little bit slower, giving our opponents a little bit more of a chance.
Going for a little bit of handshake gaming, as our friend Shadowwings would call it.
Sure. I think that's a very apt term, especially in this case here. Fake One could have leaked here with a real send as well. Again, the Archer not traditionally very good, and not even upgraded, so we will see that upgraded here.
Even more income being sent here on wave 10. And I dislike this positioning here from No Style with his Nightmare kind of in the danger spot there on the flank. And his Harbingers in the safe spots on the wall.
Correct.
But I suppose you want both of them to be safe, so I can see it.
It's a little bit tough, and we're stimming the veteran again, despite being income sent
Wow.
every wave.
I mean, how many times does he want to minus 20 this game?
I don't know, but pretty soon Pakistan is going to have plus 47, so that's a thing.
We know
to
that
look
he's at
forward
least
to.
minus 60, right?
That's correct. And in actual value as well.
Now, we do actually see No Balls leaking to DT, Snail, and King Ups, because again, his build is absolute garbage on 10. Pakistan leaking as well to a Fiend with the Berserker, okay. But luckily the stimmed veteran is able to cover for his teammate in mid, so no king damage taken on either side.
That's actually the big brain move right there.
Oh, and by the way, you called it, by the way. He just re-rolled it. Who needs to keep the Tempest in your opening roll when you can just insta-roll it again for wave 11 with your Sorcerer Trinity Archer?
He did it in less than 4 rolls, too. I think that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really lucky rolls there. Like, he spent very little gold on the re-rolls, and he has an exceptionally good roll, I would say.
It kind of just has the potential to keep getting better.
He doesn't get a send here, so No Balls is opting to try and maintain some pressure against his opponent here. But Fake One, I think, is in a very good spot, and meanwhile, Pakistan does get a full send here. He is going to leak a lot. He has been caught off guard here by the AOA resend from No Style. In fact, he's leaking massively. What is this, like 100%? Yeah, 113% in fact. Meanwhile, both players, No Style and No Balls, will hold, but Fake One will be able to cover for his teammate. So yet again, I think there's no king damage to be dealt.
Correct. The 11 snail tech is coming in clutch in a lot of these games. It's so funny how the tanks just run off to the right when the split is made even on 11.
Yeah, that one always catches me off guard, actually.
Same. I always forget to do it. So
Alright.
if Fake One gets sent this wave, which is kind of happening, they have egg. What's to stop them from egging on into basically the rest of the game with the Sork Archer? Because that's all they need is delay.
I mean, he can, right? If that's the way he wants to play it. No balls, though, he hasn't really sent here. He's just going for a snail and nothing else. No style, it looks like, is full sending here 12 into Pakistan. Again, very low value. Again, I think this play may just catch him unprepared. Yeah, it looks like his front line is going down very, very quickly. We do have a Shadow Dancer in there, but it hasn't been upgraded, so that thing is dying super, super quickly as well. And yeah, it looks like another decent leak here on 12 out of Pakistan.
That's going to start feeling bad. He
Yeah.
just got his castle buff. He played the early game just fine, and now he's going to leak every wave since getting that castle buff.
Yeah. And No Style with the most workers in the game, putting himself in a very good spot thanks to all of this juicy Birch gold as well.
Yeah, pretty much exactly that. We are looking at a very safe, good, 13 for Fake One.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a Theta, and decent magic damage, and decent tank. Speaking of tank, hello.
There it is.
I'm trying to figure out when they got it. Have they had it this whole time?
I think
don't
he
recall.
just re-rolled for it actually. Yeah, because he's swapped out his egg, right, for that Millennium. But look, so Fake One is obviously very keen to make up for the fact that No Style had to spend 20 gold so many times, and is deciding to spend 20 gold twice here on 13. Again, into No Send. In terms of wave 14 though, he can just upgrade those two Tempest, and then his Trinity Archer is going to be an absolute monstrosity.
Absolutely. Just more AoE for it to clean up the left side of the wave with.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling very good. He could kill his split here with a boar. Okay, doesn't do that. I'm very happy to see it.
Alright, so we've got something a little bit spicy happening now, because No Style, No Balls are both going for big sends here on 14. Well, okay, not big from No Style, but it is a full resend. While No Balls goes for the Ram Mole, the Ram will go to the right, which means it will be ignored because the Trinity Archer is going to melt the left-hand side of the wave. And I think Fake One might just hold here. He's really strong, got very good units, and he's basically on value. Pakistan, I do just expect a full hold. So let's keep eyes, because we've got a 500 send here for the Fake One, but I just think this Sorcerer double Leviathan Trinity Archer, I mean, look at this, man. It's absolutely melting the left-hand side of the wave.
As predicted, Sork, Trinity Archer, Tempest, very strong. That's my input.
He's actually leaking pretty badly, 110%. Okay, that's way more than I expected. And meanwhile, actually, Pakistan, he's leaking as well. The saving grace is that they do at least have a fully upgraded king, so they shouldn't take too much damage from this. I mean, look, this is a big percentage here for Fake One, but it's all very low, so will just die to the first spell from the king. And meanwhile, here comes their counter-attack. We've got double Ghost Knight, Shaman Hermit. These stands are going to be pretty big, and can No Greed Balls Feed put up much of a fight against it? We're about to find out.
Yeah, so they were clearly hoping to force the 15. It didn't quite happen, but I think they're still going to be happy with the result of this, as no balls, their units for this wave kind of suck.
Yeah, they do. I mean, he's going back in for this Pegasus combo here. The only thing they're buffing are these Sea Dragons here, the Lifebinder, sorry. But, I mean, that in itself is a decent amount of value. And the Sorcerer on his Banana Haven is not terrible either. So if the Lifebinders can keep that thing alive, maybe he can pull off a miracle. We're about to find out. 620 send here for No Style, 680 for No Balls. Let's see, I mean, here's that stim once again. We've seen it do work on the other waves. Can it clutch him a hold here on 15? I don't know, but this Banana Haven did not pull off a miracle here for no balls, so it looks like that can be a pretty big leak for him. His front line is gone, and his Lifebinders will die very quickly afterwards. No Style, however, he's doing extremely well. He's going to kill everything apart from the boss. Pakistan leaks actually more to the very, very small send there. Yeah, 45%. Very good performance there from No Style. They do, of course, have a full king as well. So they're going to be in a pretty solid position after this, I think.
I definitely think I agree. We do see the Sork Trinity Archer yet again doing those things that it does. It will kill the boss, which is very, very good for them. And the full king that they have will clean up the rest of the wave to just about 0 damage.
But both teams on very similar king HP now, a slight advantage on the side of it's a trade-off, but look at this, the worker count, the income count is... Actually, I mean, the worker's slightly in favour of the No Greed team, but the income heavily in favour of it's a trade-off.
Absolutely. Fake One here, rolling into the Grawler role, going to turn them into very useful King Claws, which will do more of that AoE damage, help clean up that left side more. I think the only thing Fake One is really missing is a better split. They're taking almost no time to clear the right side. Like the right side just almost goes straight over to the left.
Yeah, a little bit more meat over there in the split would certainly not go amiss to give his archer a chance to pop off the way it needs to. He could also do with finding another flying unit to go right here, right in between the two Leviathans, but he has that Phoenix, which could just be the perfect thing. However, it's wave 17 coming out from No Greed Force Feed. That's interesting because they seem super, super strong here on 17.
Yeah, typically Shadow Knight, Dread Knight, whatever it is, pretty good on 17. The levies are good off tanks. We do have the Oathbreakers, which can be really good. We do have the King Claws, which are very good. Harbinger, we're not. This isn't a good wave to send on, in my opinion.
No, although Fake One actually looks like he's building for 18. Yeah, okay, so he did make one King Claw, but then he spent the rest on a Fater. He's changing his mind. He's just baiting the casters, I guess.
Really smart move, because if we don't know what's going on, how can they?
Oh, absolutely. And look, Pakistan's 600 under, Fake One 700 under. They're both strong this wave, but I mean they kind of built for next wave, and the sends are decent. 580, 660. Are they able to hold against this? Let's keep eyes on this Trinity Archer because this is very important now. How quickly can it clear up the left? Very seems to be the answer.
It is pretty quick. The King Claw is helping out with that AoE spread a little bit. I still would have loved to have seen one of those upgraded Oathbreakers on the right, just to give it that extra second and a half that it needs. Pakistan is also going to leak pretty big here, so that's going to turn the tides kind of a lot. And yet again, I find myself not knowing what I'm talking about.
Are they just dead, Seto? Like, this is 25 creeps on wave 17, I think.
It's a big number, yes.
I think they're giga dead. Okay, well, look, we got our game number 3.
We do.
Wow, that game was definitely a roller coaster. That was by far the most back and forth game we've had all day. Like, look at this win probability graph. It's up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Jules just didn't know which way to look. And yeah, it does turn into a victory there for No Style and No Balls. So that was their Megamind and Lock-in victory. So of course they can't play those again. And now Seto, look, it really comes down to this last game now because both teams have scored 1 point and it is a best of 3. So everything, the whole day worth of work comes down to this next game. The winner here will go through to the semi-finals tomorrow and the loser is out of the competition. So everything to play for now. A really, really intense match. Which way do you think it's going to go?
We're getting kind of a repeat, I think. Well, very, very much obviously. But God, which way do I think it's going to go? Polska Garam.
Polska Goron, that's a good call, a very good call. I'm sure that'll be popular with the chat as well. I see a lot of Polskas Goroming all over the place in there. I say Cześć to my friends over there. I've been coached by Fake One to pronounce the ch on the end, so hopefully I'm doing him justice. And yeah, we'll have to see. Can these guys pull it out of the bag? Because I'd love to see the worst polls making it through to the semi-finals. But that said, no Greed Balls feed. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Are certainly playing their little hearts out as well. And remember, guys, they did win this match the first time around in the first match of the day. So will they be able to repeat that, or will the polls clutch victory here? We're about to find out. The players have requested a 1 minute break, so Seto, we've got a little bit more time to fill. What do you think everything's going to come down to in game number 3? Is there one defining factor for you in these games?
I feel like we've. Whoop.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
That was a fast minute. That was the fastest minute of my life.
Right. I mean, well, we're at least saved from padding, guys, because here we go. Everything to play for. Last chance match. Game number 3. Who will be the victor? We're about to find out. Let's go.
Ooh.
What do you think about these spells?
Okay, let's go into the spells directly. A Divine Blessing. Very, very incredibly strong spell if you have the unit for it. It's champion on cocaine, but the minute you come off your high, that's it, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
We have Giant Snail. Feels like most of the time bait unless you're going for a late game eco strategy where you're just sending snails anyway and you're like, hey, maybe I get some time off of this. And then Dark Writ. Oh boy, do I love money.
Yeah, Dark Ritual. I don't know. Dark Ritual is very good if you're behind. And you're
It
already on
really
low
is.
King HP, then you can get some incredible value out of Dark Ritual. Otherwise, I feel like it's quite hard to take. Um, Divine Blessing, I think, is just by far the best defensive spell in the game. Though, of course, it's one and done. Like, as soon as you leak, it's gone forever. But, talking about the units for it, Azeria is probably the best Divine Blessing target in the game. And this little fella here, the Shadow Dancer, he's probably up there as well. So 2 of the best possible targets for that spell in this game. We'll have to see, do the players take it? And if so, do they use it to full advantage?
I think right off the bat, very interestingly, if I were to make a prediction on who would benefit most from Giant Snail, it probably would be either Fake One or No Balls,
Mm-hmm.
because that'd be a lot of trash to just be in the way, and we could get, pretty big income games here. Unfortunately, Pakistan with the castle, this time not into Fiesta, so maybe the waves will be a little bit faster for him, but not going to get that free income that he got last time.
Yeah, true. Let's see if he can make it work. We do have a snail resend here coming out. Post income from Fake One. No style is Giga on value, so he's going to be very, very fine.
Very strong opener, the Aqua and the Flower. You can push to 7 workers pretty much almost for free.
Yeah, let's see if he does. Starting to clear off the creeps now. And yeah, there's the 6th worker. Let's see if he goes in under 7. That might be a bit too spooky for him. He does not. He stays on 6. Okay.
Nope, just kidding.
Oh, he does. Okay. Just a little bit late there.
Had to be sure.
Now, presumably he still gets that fire elemental on wave 4, right? In which case he's in a very, very strong position. We do have sends coming out into Pakistan. That is a full send, a 60 send. It's only income, though. With a double Oathbreaker, I think he's going to be completely fine.
Double Oathbreaker feeling just fine. Those Harpies starting to ramp up and feeling very good themselves. The after income send into no style, giving him a little bit of extra leniency going into this wave, as the cat is just going to be doing lots of cleanup. It could have been on more stacks had he been more afraid, but basically no pressure on him currently.
Yeah. Did get a leak out of Pakistan. It's only 4 creeps though, so nothing really special to write home about. We do have some more income sends coming out here on wave 4, a little bit more handshake gaming, if you will. The double DT into Nobles, who is massively undervalued, but of course it's undervalued with these 2 units, so he's just very, very fine.
He's very fine. He needed to send that income here, so even though it's handshake, it was necessary handshake just to get the fire elemental out and be able to hold and do all of those nice things that he does. And it's a good thing that he's not playing Drash this game, as he probably would have gotten the sad after income Hermit on wave 4 anyway.
Yeah, even Hermit, I think, like the Fire Elemental Honeyflower is just so strong, like at this stage of the game.
Very much can still hold there, yeah.
Now we have, yeah, it looks like everybody just holding. Nobody really trying for leaks either. Everybody just focusing on their own economy, it seems.
Fake one here on a juicy 8 workers going into wave 5. They're going to be completely fine here, and with the dropping of this infiltrator, they'll likely be fine next as well.
He's going to need to be. Wave 7 is starting to look a bit spooky for Fake One in Pakistan, and look at this. No style and no balls, although they haven't skipped a wave so far this game. It looks like they're starting to turn on the cringe.
That was the promise you made me at the beginning of this game. They would do these long saves and like GKs on 8 and big sends, but they've been kind of straying away from possibly what is their comfort zone in order to play a little bit more Fake One in Pakistan's
Yeah, a little bit more income heavy, absolutely. And of course in the game against Drakir and Atrocity, they just had no chance to save Mythium because they were getting knocked about left, right and centre.
Yeah, that was very rude indeed. But we did skip one wave, so we get nothing juicy. Unfortunately, just the income sends right back to it. Right back to work.
Alright, back to it. Everybody is evenly matched on workers. Similar value numbers, similar income numbers. Of course, Pakistan is lower down, but he's playing Castle.
Actually, huge buff right there, double zeros.
And that's insane. Alright, Pakistan has re-rolled now. It looks like his endgame build will be some combination of Chieftain, Gargoyles, and Sky Queens for DPS. Actually a very solid late game roll. Like, there's nothing there that stands out as a massive carry unit, but the combination of Pilgrim, Gargoyle, and Sky Queen, I think, can just be deceptively strong.
I am certainly deceived right now, so it's working.
Alright, I mean, here's Wave 7. There's no big sends to speak of, so the game plan that I thought the No Greed Balls feed duo might go for is not here. They're just continuing to income and king upgrade. Shadow Wings will be turning in his grave right now.
Where did Shadow go?
Hopefully not to the grave. I think maybe he just went to the store or something. A turn of phrase, that's all.
Alright, so really nice value there from No Balls. If they had spent that, they'd have been like 45 over, which is absolutely kind of insane. They're clearly shifting for the Millennium next, but I don't think that's necessary when you are getting in-kinged every like single wave.
Right, yeah, like maybe just spend it on a worker instead.
Yeah, you know?
To say that like
thing.
all 4 players have been income kinging every single wave, I do feel like the worker counts are remarkably low this game.
Yeah, that's a really disappointing point. And it is ink. Like, we're getting our first real sends, our actual first real sends, and it's
Okay.
2 brutes on 8 here. Not typically something you want to see, as brutes kind of get hit early.
They
But,
can provide pretty decent tank value as well, right? Against like impact and pierce units. So
sure.
I don't hate it. He won't get a third though, so he's going to send like a lizard. Okay. We do see No Style dropping the Shadow Dancer here. So I think with his value, with his units, he's going to be just fine. No Ball, I mean, he's on even more value there. He did get that Millennium that you mentioned. So let's keep eyes on this. I think he's going to be completely fine. There's no mole either, so the Aquas are just doing infinite damage on the wave. That looks like an easy hold to me. Meanwhile, if we pop back over to No Styles lane, I mean, his Shadow Dancer did die early, so that's something. Pakistan, meanwhile, leaking half the wave against Snails. But, okay, No Style does leak, 56%. But look at this Seto. So the leak percentage is very, very similar, but one side sent Brutes and the other side only sent Snails. So this, to me, looks like a clear victory for the side of No Greed Balls Feed.
Absolutely, absolutely indeed. And another problem is we have kind of a few uh, Wave 9 potential issues here for Fake One in Pakistan.
Yeah, not
Like, we
looking very
could
strong there.
put down a couple units, uh, some trees maybe, but after that, we're both looking a little bit sus here. Like, I guess we can absolutely up one of these Oathbreakers that are already down, but we rolled them out. We can no longer get those back.
Yeah, and these guys just absolutely love spending like temporary gold on no send waves. That has been
Unfortunately,
the
on no send waves in auto send games too.
right, yeah. And they're both like looking super, super weak on 10, which does look like where No Style and No Ball want to send.
No balls once again shifting a little bit of gold here. I guess maybe they're going for the Doomsday over the Millennium. Maybe they're not quite happy with their value on 10, seeing as they have a lot of the AoE and the Aquas.
Yeah,
So,
Doomsday makes sense. Like he's very,
yep.
very weak on 10 without that unit. Alright, here come the big sends. We've got an Ogre from No Style, we've got Mimic Brute from No Balls, and as we said earlier, Seto, these guys are looking very, very weak on wave 10.
Yep.
I'm kind of
We
surprised
do
that Fake One goes for a
have-
full send here. Like, this seems like a very clear Income King angle to me.
I mean, the only real unit that they had for 10 before was kind of like Cat, which is fake. The Shadow Dancer just kind of gets instantly nommed away in most cases, so that could have been a good goal, but it's not really going to work out with the Hidden Avenger.
Yep. And he's at least able to kill one of the brutes super quick, of course, with the boosted orchids, but he's going to struggle to kill much more. The Mimic does go down, so that's something. Oh, and the Brute as well. Okay, he's killed the Sens. That's basically a full hold for him. Meanwhile, if we pop back over to Pakistan, he's leaking pretty badly, actually. Healthy boss, full HP Ogre, and a Robo as well. Sure, No Style leaks, but guess what? No Balls has a half HP Doomsday to cover that in the mid. Meanwhile, it's a trade-off. They're about to trade a big chunk of their King's HP here on 10.
A big chunk of their King's HP and a big chunk of Jules' faith in them.
Yeah, all the way down to 15% win chance remaining for those guys. In fact, Seto, this is the first time I think
There's the
we've seen
single digit.
single digits. Yeah, 9% win chance for the side of It's a Trade-off.
Hey, but good news. Divine Blessing Azeria, here to save us from ourselves.
I mean, he needs it. He definitely needs something here. Pakistan and Fake One definitely on their last legs here in the tournament. 21% HP on their king. Although it is fair to say that the income is looking pretty favourable to them right now because, of course, with the castle power spike and the cartel anti-power spike, these numbers are looking pretty good for the side of It's a Trade-off.
Very much so, which means that despite all of that, Jules needs to maybe rework a little bit of his math, I think. 139 income on wave 11. Like, knowing Cartel, it's expected that you're going to get that little bit of a debuff, but this is hurting pretty desperately, having that much lower. We do increase it a little bit by sending the pack leader on 12 and into Pakistani's role. It could be good. It could also backfire massively if he kind of just spends his money. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean they need to hold here. I think if they can, clearly, like if they leak here, they're just dead, right? But if they do hold here, they can actually be in a really good spot in this game.
Very much so, and Divine Blessing usually gives you that second chance towards a win anyway. We do have the consorts for a little bit of poison. Maybe we'll poison something that needs to get sniped.
Alright, let's see. We've got 300 Mythium here for Fake One. Azeria actually isn't tanking enough, I don't think. Needed to pull a couple more creeps there to really make the use out of his Divine Blessing. And it might come back to bite him now, because now it has to tank the whole rest of the wave all by itself. Meanwhile, Pakistan, that looks like a hold to me. That's really
To me
big.
as well there, Penny. Yep.
That's really big. Okay, so Fake One does leak, which is not ideal, because I think if he had held here and kept his Divine Blessing, they would be in a really strong position. But the fact that Pakistan holds obviously keeps them in the game, and they're in a pretty decent spot now, I would say.
Jules doesn't, but we're getting there.
He might change his mind after this wave. Let's see. Oh, okay,
No.
they just income send. Nani?
Oh, no, wait, stop.
I
Oh,
don't
no.
understand this income send at all here.
Okay. All right, hold on. I'm back. All right, so let's look at it through their lens. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. This income send is really weird. Like, obviously they want the regen, but they're just relieving all pressure on the side of No Greed Ball Speed, and now these guys can play the game however they want. But I don't quite get that one, then.
I'm still trying to figure out the angle. Like, I mean, I guess I see they don't want to send in the no balls for kind of a while. Like, that tank is very intimidating. But they've known that he's had it for a while now. They should have been able to come up with a workaround.
Yeah.
You know, like potentially matching the send on 12 wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. At least then you maybe would have held better. But,
Yeah, I mean, if they just income King there on wave 12, then they're in a really good spot, and probably Fake One still has his Divine Blessing, right? But, okay, I mean, now it's time for No Greed Ball's feed to just instantly relieve the pressure. Once again, they go for this big wave 14 send, where Pakistan's going to be plus 200 value. Fake One can definitely leak here, because he has essentially 0 DPS for the wave. But Pakistan is looking pretty strong here. He just needs to spend his gold.
and he's doing it on harpies.
It's
Which
good.
is fine.
That's his
They're
only
fine, yeah.
damage. It's pretty fine, yeah.
We do have an amazing tank in the Green Devil.
Oh no!
So,
Spend your gold! No, he unspent his gold.
Yep.
If that's the difference maker, Pakistan is going to be very displeased with himself, I think.
Could be. Okay, so all of these snails scaling into No Balls' pockets starting to feel pretty good, because it is paying off over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he does kill the ogre, but that's a leak, and that's a leak. Oh no, it's a diff maker for unspending his gold. Oh,
It very much
Pakistan!
is.
Oh no, he would have easily held.
He very much would have, yeah, because that would have been extra healing just in his Green Devil's pocket alone would have made
Yeah.
quite the difference.
Wow,
And
that's
that's
that's game ending. Oh man, he had it. He placed the chieftain, and then he sold it, and he leaked 2 creeps, and yeah, he would have easily held. He would have had units alive in the mid to cover, and they would have been in an okay spot. But look, if spots and maybes don't get us anywhere, we have got a no-style, no-balls victory here. Day 1 Nova Cup. They have made their way successfully through to tomorrow's semi-finals. Fake One and Pakistan, unfortunately, have not. These guys put up a valiant effort. This game number 3 was very difficult for them. They were pretty much behind from start to finish. But look, they played very, very well in the other games, so they can be proud of their performance here today. And Seto, that's all our games today. How are you feeling about that, man?
It is so exciting to be in the seat, which I am in every day, but to be sharing the seat with you, uh, that right there is kind of, big deal. I think we saw some pretty good games today. I think that after 3 hours and some change of playing games, the Fake One in Pakistan just didn't have any gas left in the tank. There was probably a little bit of a recharge there in beating Don in the underdog bracket,
Hmm.
but we just weren't able to get over the finish line,
Yeah,
which is deeply disappointing.
they must have used up all of their luck in that series against the Don, right? Kind of the only way
It
they can
takes a
win there.
bunch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they just run out by the time they had to face No Greed Balls Feed again, and it did end up being a rerun of the first series of the day. So yeah, some pretty interesting matches we've seen for sure. I think if I have to nominate an MVP, then clearly it goes to Drakir and Atrocity, because those two games that we saw were dominating. Those guys were on fire. Like the way they played that series, they just did not give their opponents a single inch to play with. Like they were wiping the floor with them. And if they're playing that way tomorrow, I think those are going to be a team to watch for sure. I definitely expect to see them in the final, if not just in the winners' interview as well. Like their level of play here today was phenomenal. Also, of course, congratulations to all the other players. In their games, we've seen some really exciting stuff on the cast today, and it's been really cool. So congratulations to the winners, commiserations to the losers, but overall, I hope that all the players have had fun. And of course, just to echo your thoughts there, Seto, I've really enjoyed having you here on the cast with me today. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope the folks at home have enjoyed having you here as well. It's been a pleasure, and yeah, it's. But I guess that's all I've got to say about today. So that's me done. Any final thoughts from you, my friend, before we end the stream?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that the statements that were made by Drakir and Atrocity, if that doesn't strike fear into their opponents tomorrow, I don't know what will.
Hmm.
That would take absolute balls of style.
Yeah. You tried. You tried.
It was forced, but I loved every moment of it. Okay.
Let's just see quickly. Do we have any results from the second side of the bracket? We do have Quack Abusers, that's Slickens and Quackers. They beat their opponents 2-0, and Double Penetration, fantastic team names this month it seems. Johnny C and Sagittarius, they won 2-0 as well. So it does look like we have our semi-finals decided there, and it's going to be pretty exciting, guys. So everybody at home on Twitch, make sure you tune in tomorrow for the semi-finals, and then of course grand finals of this August Nova Cup. But for now, that's all we've got time for. So once again, massive thank you to my co-caster, all of the staff behind the scenes for making the tournament run smoothly, and of course you guys at home. Without the viewers, there would be no tournament. So hope you've enjoyed the show. But for now, goodbye.